Remove that one.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. I am just waiting here for my guest who told me he will be here momentarily. So we're not going to have had a sound check, but hopefully everything will be okay. How is everybody today? Are you looking forward to meeting him? Do you know who Vegan Gains is? His first name is Richard. And the way that I first found him was through social media when I was just becoming vegan. I saw some videos of him and I thought, wow, that guy looks pretty healthy. He doesn't look half dead. Maybe I can be vegan too. And so that's how my journey happened. Well, I met, of course, a lot of other vegans along the way through Facebook and so on. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be listening to your questions. If you have a specific question, you have a super chat, that's totally fine. Otherwise, I really want to include you as much as possible, even the haters. So moderators, if there are any questions, make sure you leave them. Unless the only time that we remove people is when they are rude on purpose or they tell lies. Anybody else who wants to express themselves, it's totally fine. I don't see that as censorship. I see that as we want to be able to communicate without meat emojis and without she's a liar and she's this and she's that. If you have a genuine question about something you've heard, one of the many, many lies circulating and rumors, not just about me, but also about my guest, feel free to ask. For those of you who are new and just meeting me for the first time, my name is Miss Kadie and I am the vegan teacher. I am also a school teacher and I worked as a registered nurse for 25 years. So right now my full-time job is to work teaching online like this. And I just see that Vegan Gains has just popped up. Let me see if I can add him here.
Hey,
hi there.
What's going on? Sorry, I'm a little
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me fine?
Okay, and I actually can't hear you. So let me see if I can turn this up. Just a sec. Can you talk?
Let me see. Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so this is Vegan Gains. I'm going to turn my volume up a little bit more. Sorry about that, everybody. But, all right, so this is Richard. Richard, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you, beginning with how long have you been vegan? Why did you become vegan? And are you dying of malnutrition?
Okay, well, I've been vegan for 11 years now. I went vegan pretty much right after I finished high school, like right at the end of high school, just before I turned 19. I turned vegan because I saw a Gary Yourofsky speech.
Okay, same as me.
Yeah, I believe it's titled The Best Speech Ever Told.
Yeah.
And like right after seeing the speech, I had no excuse not to go vegan, so I went vegan. My main concern at the time was health and fitness, and like after seeing that speech, I was convinced like, okay, like, you know, I can get all the nutrition I need. There's no worry. And as I just, you know, followed the diet and lifestyle more and more, I just cared more about the animals. It only took like a few months for that to be my main concern. So that's basically my vegan backstory.
Okay.
As far as like, I don't know, do you want to know anything else about my life?
Well, I want to just tell everybody a little bit. I just said as an intro before you came on that I had first seen you on YouTube and that, you know, I was just learning about veganism and you looked pretty healthy to me. And I thought, okay, yeah, that's, you know, it's always one of the things that I worried about at first. I thought, you know, I really would like to be vegan for the animals. For me, it was animals first. And I just thought, oh God, I'm going to drop dead because everyone says that I need this, this, and this. Anyway, so it was a certain reassurance to see you. And I was a little bit scared of you. My first reaction was like, my God, like, is he nice in real life? Like, I was just like,
can be a little intense.
Yeah. And so to everybody who's just joining us, we are actually also both of us in Canada. I'm in Montreal, in Quebec, and Richard Vegan Gains is in Ontario. So we're about, I think, maybe like 600 kilometers apart or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's like a 5-6 hour drive.
Yeah, actually a bit more than that because I think it's 5 hours for us to get to Toronto, 5.5. Yeah, so probably 6.5. Anyway, one of these days when COVID's over, I'd like to come and see you It would be so fun to do some. Or you guys come out here. You know, we have a spare room, so it would be so much fun to hang out and do some videos together. So another thing we have in common is we swear. So,
Yeah, I swear a lot.
Yeah, you swear a lot.
Probably.
A little more than me, yeah. So are we going to have a competition and try not to swear for this hour? What do you think?
Yeah, I suppose I can be on my best behavior.
Yeah. Also, for those of you who don't know, and I just discovered this new secret, what is it, talent that Vegan Gains has, Richard. He's able to twerk. I was watching his live stream yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, check him out twerking. And I said in the comments, I don't know if you saw it, but I said, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should get $25 for twerking. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? You know? Who wouldn't want to see my fat ass, 56-year-old fat ass twerking? So anyway, if somebody wants to pay $56, I know, not 56. It was $25. I'll do some twerking too, to the best of my ability. You can teach me how, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know if I've perfected the technique yet. It's difficult, so I don't know. It's something that you just have to kind of learn the rhythm.
Okay, yeah, learn the rhythm, right? Okay, so all right, so I just got a little message here from my assistant to turn my volume down. Is that a little bit better for everybody? Is that good? Oh, I hear a cat.
Yeah, that's
all right.
My cat Prismo.
Right. So we were also going to talk a little bit about, well, I'd like to get to know you in a way that I haven't before. And first of all, thanks for helping me set up my green screen and all that. I had no clue what I was doing. I'm still trying to learn all the technology. But I got a nice new mic, which is something you suggested. So that's good. And yeah, I'm kind of starting to have fun with this. I love getting to meet everybody. That's the great part about this. So we were also going to talk about, like, so you have a vegan cat and a vegan dog. Do you want to just quickly tell people a little bit about that? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so we adopted Finn a few years ago. I think he's 4 years old now. Prismo's under a year old, and we adopted him as well. Obviously, if you're vegan, you don't want to support animal agriculture in any way. You don't want to buy meat or animal products, so that would go for you and your pets as well. Since there are vegan dog foods and vegan cat foods, just get vegan dog food, vegan cat food. They do just fine on it. There isn't too much research on vegan cats at the moment, but the research that does exist shows cats can do just fine on a vegan diet. There are some unique concerns with regards to alkalinization of their urine, but there's ways to deal with that. Other than that, just making sure you have a food that's nutritionally complete, you're good to go.
All right. I agree. I mean, you know, vegan cats is one thing that we kept hearing about, obligate carnivores, but it seems to me that since then I've met so many people who do have vegan cats. And just a quick shout out to Pugman here, who keeps donating money. This is great. Thank you so much. And somebody else here. Oh no, TVT twerking. Okay.
Oh damn.
Oh shit. Okay. So how do I twerk?
Okay, so you should have probably looked up a tutorial on this.
Okay, look, honestly, I do kind of have a somewhat of an idea. I think that you have to, okay, I'll show you what I know. Let me move my chair out of the way. So I have to kind of like, can you see me here? All right.
Yeah, I can see you.
So you correct me if I'm wrong, okay? You tell me how to twerk. So I think that I'm supposed to bend my knees and stick out my ass. Have we got it right so far? Put your left foot in, you put your left foot out. No, not quite. Okay.
Not quite.
All right.
So you want to like put your back into flexion and extension.
Like this?
So, but you want to do it very quickly. Yeah. Yeah, but you want to do it very quickly.
Oh, I guess I have to show you my ass. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. You got to pop the booty out.
Okay. And then...
Yeah, so then you want to put your back into flexion and extension very quickly. So, like, you know, arch your back and, like, curve your back, but do it very quickly. That helps to move the butt up and down. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, and you want to do it very quickly.
How do you... Yeah, because yours is super fat. Okay, wait. Well, you give me
it's hard.
Like this?
Yeah. You're getting it.
Like
I
that?
think with a little bit of practice, if we get like a few more donos, we'll probably get the
Let me see.
hang of it.
This?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my God, how do you do that fast though? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Is the idea to do like fast and little or like exaggerated?
I think the main thing you want to focus on is just getting the rhythm and try to pick up speed. Don't focus too much on really making that, the butt pop. Like,
Okay.
I'd say just get the rhythm first, and then maybe
Yeah, it's
after
not that easy. There's some certain like fun muscle movement, right?
Yeah,
That you
yeah.
got to work on. Okay. Okay, well, is that enough? Can I stop?
Yeah, I think that gave them their money's worth.
Okay. Woo!
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me that little twerk lesson, and thank you for a little donation there. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Every little donation helps. Helped me to buy this microphone. It helped me to buy a green screen, and this is great. All right, so let's get on with some serious questions about also another thing I'm interested in is what do you feel about, Richard, volume up. You want to turn your volume up a little bit, Rich?
Okay, so I turned it up.
And I'll turn mine down a bit.
There.
All right.
Let me see if I can turn it up a little more.
If anybody has any specific questions, let me know. Let me see what I got here. Oh, did we get this one yet? Okay. Oh, I see the comments stopped here on mine. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to click on anything that's big. That vegan teacher. Hey, Kadie, please know you so totally made me and my family vegan. Yes, that's amazing. We so totally support everything you do. You're totally inspiring, Kadie. Please continue the work. Thank you for saying that. Somebody just wrote to me, you're not effective. You're not a good vegan. Nobody's becoming vegan because of you. And somebody said I should do a video on that cranky vegan. And apparently that cranky vegan doesn't like me. Do you know who that cranky vegan is?
I've heard of them before. I'm not totally, I'm not familiar with their content. From what I've been told, they're, I don't know, they're kind of very PC, politically correct. That's what I've been told. I don't know, though.
Yeah. Well, he is in one of those. He went to jail, actually, for his activism. And I saw the movie. It was called, I think, Animal People. It was a documentary. And it was and he's one of the people. And I thought the movie was great. They were trying to do all these disruptions and go straight to the companies. And he's somebody who apparently thinks that all this stuff that we do is just a complete waste of time. And yet, what I say, or what I was going to say, because somebody said I should do a video about him. First of all, I'd love to interview him. But what I say to him is this. How come somebody like Vegan Gains doesn't know about you yet, Mr. Cranky Vegan? You see, you're doing something wrong. The problem is you're not being loud enough and you're not being hated enough. If you're staying in your own little vegan bubble and just giving your nice little advice all quietly and calmly and so PC, then it doesn't matter how great your advice is. You need to disrupt society like I did on TikTok and like Vegan Gains is doing on his channel. He just says it like it is. And that's how we're going to get the message out. So that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of vegan activists who try to avoid being controversial because they think that it will, I don't know, give them some sort of added credibility. I think that can actually be a problem. Like, veganism isn't a popular opinion. It's not something that a lot of people are really in support of. So you're going to end up expecting a lot of pushback no matter what you do. If you don't end up receiving pushback, that might actually be a sign that you're not actually getting the message across. I know I just did the live stream the other day about Rayleigh Link 14. Like, she's one of those very PC vegan activists. I wouldn't even call her vegan activist. I wouldn't even call her vegan, really, with some of the stuff she said. But, these people talk about not trying to offend meat eaters, not trying to make them feel bad. The only way to advocate for vegan ethics is to make people feel bad, make them feel guilty, and you'd expect to get a negative response from a very large portion of people. And if you're not doing that, I'd say that might actually be a sign that you're not advocating for veganism. So I don't think vegan activists should actually be afraid of offending people. In fact, offending people might be a sign that you're doing something right.
Yeah. You know what? Look, I agree with you, and I have had backlash from so many people, especially here in Montreal, since I became vegan, where I would say, "Look, we gotta be more forceful. We gotta have the cohesive message. We have to go out there, and we have to make people feel guilty." And also, if we're doing activism, every single time we're doing activism, what we should be doing is after whatever protests we did, get together and talk about what went right and what went wrong, and get better. What I find happens is activists all go out, everybody praises each other, pats each other on the back, says, "Way to go, that was so great." But there's no measurable result. Like here in close to home, there's the Bay Durfee. You must know about ITR Lab that does animal testing. It's absolutely horrific what goes on. They beat these animals. There are hundreds of animals in there, pigs and dogs, beagle dogs. They burn them. They put stuff in their eyes. It is heartbreaking to know that goes on close to my home. And yet, just for the hell of it, I went and did a survey of some people in Bay Durfee. I said, "Do you know, apparently there's a lab here that tests on animals somewhere. Do you know where that is?" And they're like, "What? Where?" So like, these people have been yelling at a brick wall for years, and even the main citizens who live in that tiny town don't even know what goes on. So,
Yeah.
you know, you should be protesting, at the city councilor's place, or just, I don't know, whatever it is. There has to be some sort of brainstorming to be able to measure whether it's working or not. And that's one of the things I think also. And the problem is that everybody tries to be so nice to each other, which you have to be polite, yes, but we also have to learn. And that's what interests me a little bit about this guy, Cranky Vegan. I mean, he did go to jail, so hopefully he's learned something. But I don't know, if we don't know who he is, then something's wrong. He should be yelling to get his message and then maybe saying it nicely. I don't know. But yeah, Rally Link 14, whatever, she rides horses, and she claims she's vegan. And, you know, you and I both agree that that's not vegan.
I would say there are circumstances where you could ride a horse and be vegan. Some of the stuff she said, like she was saying she's riding horses for their benefit, so they need a certain amount of exercise, and if you happen to be on, like, especially if you're in if they're on a paddock that isn't particularly large, they're not going to really have an opportunity to run around. So if you're riding and like not using a bit, and especially if you do consent training, where the horse can actually like tell you when it does and doesn't want to be ridden, I think under those circumstances it can be vegan. But I would discourage pretty much everyone from riding their horse because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They ride with bits. They use whips. It's abusive and exploitative, and pretty much everyone just rides a horse for their own benefit, not their horse's benefit.
Yeah, I was just going to say I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, like, to be fair, like, I made a lot of criticisms against her. I don't actually think she's vegan, and I don't consider her a vegan activist, but, like, to be fair to her, from what I've seen, like, her talk about her horse, how she takes care of it, I wouldn't say she's abusing her horse, and it sounds like the reason she's riding is for the horse's benefit. But I still wouldn't consider her vegan, just not for that reason.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Like, if you have a horse, let's say you adopt a horse that nobody wanted, and you have just a small, I don't know, like backyard size of a place. Like, yeah, I think in that case, if you're riding the horse for the horse's benefit, just so the horse can run out, because you can't just open the gate and let the horse run wherever.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that there is exceptions, but it's always about putting the animals first and not using them to make money and not abusing them, and keeping that in mind.
Certainly.
So other things I wanted to, well, let's see. She doesn't use a bit. She watches her horse's signals to see if it wants to be ridden. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of her content. She's against the use of bits. I think she's planning on making a video talking about whips, and I'm pretty sure she's against that as well. And she says she watches for her horse's signals. There is such a thing as consent training. It's different, where you don't look for signals. The horse, like, literally will signal to you that it doesn't want to be ridden. So I don't know if she's aware of that type of training.
Do you know who Ren Hurst is? Ren Hurst is...
No, I'm not familiar. I know she criticized you for talking about Ren Hurst. I have no idea. I wouldn't be able to comment on that.
Okay, well, I have her book, and I read it like a while back, and I don't think I read every single part, but I definitely got the main idea about it. And she's somebody who also believes in not riding horses and to checking for signs of consent. And what alarmed me about Rally Link 14 was that she just lashed out at at Ren Hurst and said that she hates her. It's like so powerful of language for two people. And I was trying to tell her, look, you're both vegan. Apparently, you both love horses. You both want to protect horses. Like, how can you hate this person? It's such a strong word when you have like 1% of you that's different, if you even less, maybe.
What I think is important to point out is she criticized you for being hateful, toxic, criticizing people, and then here she's doing the same thing. So, like, she's talking about how your method of activism, where you're getting in people's faces, forcing people to go vegan, whatever the hell that means, that's turning people away from veganism. Like, okay, well, you have the same sort of behavior. You're treating people like crap, like, this person who's an equestrian, Ren Hurst. And then, the hypocrisy is just insane. I've never seen somebody just, like, complain about your behavior where you don't even do anything controversial. You just sing on a ukulele. And then here's her swearing, calling her, like, the B word, and it's really frustrating seeing that. That's what frustrated me about the whole situation.
Yeah. Well, I think when I was on TikTok, just singing and dancing over there, and I was calling people out. I was saying, everyone should be vegan. If you're Black, you should be vegan. If you're white, you should be vegan. If you're First Nations, try your best. Do your best at all times. You have a chronic illness, you can still be vegan. Just do your best. That's all that matters. That's all it means. Just try your best at all times. Don't just say, oh, well, I have chronic illness, therefore I have to wear leather and buy wool, and that's why I still have to eat honey. And come on, do your best. And people were calling me out, and randomly, I had no idea what was going on TikTok. I came there, I was like, oh my God, on YouTube. I had no idea how many people were hateful and made all these videos, and I should have probably responded to them, but I just was like, what is going on over here? And she was one of those people, because there was a little short TikTok video where somebody was riding a horse, and the horse was going in a straight long line along the side of the highway and just going and going and going, and the person was going how happy they were on this horse. And I was like, you know what? No, there's all this pasture here, and and they were talking about training horses, and I just said, I don't agree with that. Anyway, so then they went and did a video about me. What do you mean horses like to run in a straight line? I'm like, well, if you let go of the reins, they're going to go in like a dog does. They're going to go all different places. They're not going to go straight. That's you making the horse go that way. Yeah. But anyway, let's look at this comment. You want to read it?
Yeah, sure. Dogs come from wolves, and wolves are carnivores. Therefore, so are dogs. So knowing that, why do you make your dog be vegan? So, wolves are omnivores. They're not actually obligate carnivores. They do eat some plants, and since dogs have actually spent a lot of their evolutionary history alongside human beings, they have amylase copy genes, so they are actually better equipped to digest plant foods than wolves. Regardless, even if they were obligate carnivores, I don't care. You're just making a descriptive claim about these animals. You're just saying, okay, well, they're naturally just carnivorous animals. A descriptive claim does not inform you on what you ought to be doing. So just because something is a certain way doesn't mean you ought to be doing something a certain way. So even if dogs were carnivorous, even if we were carnivorous, that wouldn't justify needlessly killing animals if there are viable plant options available. So that's why I feed my dog and cat and horse a vegan diet.
Tell us about your horse.
Yeah, so his name's Jake. We rescued him. It was actually a vegetarian woman who picked him up from a slaughter auction, and then we adopted Jake from her. So he's a rescue horse. He does have some physical problems and mental problems as well. He was like pretty severely traumatized and abused when he was a little baby, so he's pretty skittish. It's a little bit hard to train him, but we did a lot of work with him, and he has gotten really sociable. He's still pretty nervous around areas where he's not used to being. He's developed some ring bone, which is essentially like the horse version of arthritis. So that might be a problem. We're not sure how long he'll really have to still walk around, but we're just going to try to give him the best level of care we can.
Is there an estimate as to how old he is?
Jasmine, how old's Jake?
What?
How old is Jake?
He's 30.
How old is he? He's 5.
He's 5. Okay. Oh yeah. I don't know. How long do horses live? Is it 20 or something?
I don't know. I think they live like 30, maybe around there.
All right. Okay, so let's see. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your weight training, just on the side here, while we wait
Sure.
for it. Well, I see. I'm just sort of trying to look to see if there's a good comment or anything. They seem to be in the chats. They just talk among themselves. It's hard to find a good question. But about your weight training, so tell everybody what you do, what your goals are, and why you do the weight training.
Yeah, so I've been doing weight training for a while, like pretty much since high school. I've had issues with depression, and I've done weight training off and on, where like at some points in times I've had different focuses. Like I was pretty into cycling for a while, but a few years ago I just got back into just strictly weight training. I got my own home gym right now, so I've been a lot more consistent with it. And right now, my goals are want to be able to bench 405 pounds by the end of the year. Right now, I can bench 290 pounds for 3 sets of 5, which is an all-time personal best for me.
Okay, wait. Let me just, because I don't know anything about that. So when you want to be able to bench press 450 pounds,
405
does that mean
pounds.
How much?
405.
405. So does that mean you like lie down on your back and you just have to lift it one time, like, and keep it up for a certain amount, or just basically up and down, like straight arms, or like what's the criteria?
So yeah, you lie down flat, you pick the weight off a rack, and then you press it down to your chest, and then lift it back up and rack it.
It has to touch your chest.
Yeah.
God, aren't you afraid you're gonna drop it and kill yourself?
No, I've got safeties to where, like, if I can't get it up, then it'll just fall down on like two big metal pieces.
Oh, okay. Phew. How much does it cost for your gym? Like, you seem to have, I watch you, for those of you who don't follow Vegan Gains, you absolutely should follow him under that name, Vegan Gains. And he does a lot of lives, and he talks, and he burps a lot, and he doesn't say, excuse me, he just burps. It just makes me laugh. It's funny. I think it's so funny. I love watching your lives, and just like, you're so relaxed. You just come on there, and just like, it's like nobody's there, but there are like 200 people watching, and you're just like no, I mean, because you've been at it for so long, right? Anyway, your gym, how much does it cost you for all of those different weights that you have there?
So I think initially I spent $2,800 on my home gym. I got a few extra weight plates since then, so I think it's totaled to around $3,500 total for my home gym.
You're in an apartment? Like, are you worried it's going to go through the floor? That's a lot of weight.
No, it should be fine. It's a pretty new apartment too.
Okay.
So like, it's not like a crappy old building that's falling apart.
Okay.
And I mean, there's like gigantic fat asses these days. There's a dude who lived down the hall from me who was like 600 pounds. So if he can walk around in his apartment, I'm sure I can lift up like, 500 pounds off the floor without falling through it.
All right. Maybe you should be a coach for him. Maybe he would like to.
He moved, and I'm kind of glad. He smelled really bad. He'd stink up the elevator.
Aw, poor guy. There's people like that. You got to feel a bit sorry for them, no?
Yeah, but I mean, he also smells. So.
No, but that's what I mean. He probably doesn't even know he smells, and he's just like sad and just doesn't. Anyways, whatever. Who knows? Anyway, so what floor are you on? Like, are you in a huge high rise? It's Guelph, right? So it must be.
No, it's not huge. It's just 4 floors.
Okay. All right. And do you have any death threats like I do? Just do people that come and throw meat and eggs at your house, and do they try and kidnap your dog? That's what they do to me. It's just like vegan phobia.
Yeah, with me, I got like death threats here and there occasionally from people, but nobody ever like confronted me in real life. Back when I was living with my mom and grandparents, this idiot kid who lived across the street leaked my address. And then people started sending pizzas to my house, and of course they're fucking cheese pepperoni pizzas. Yeah. First swear of the night, I lost. I think aside from that, the only death threats.
People are stupid to do that. People are so stupid to do that, because the only people that get punished, it's not you. You just say, I didn't order that. They punish the company They punish the poor driver who's happy to deliver a pizza, and then you don't give him a tip. He's like, fuck. You know, it's so mean. It's not even mean to the right person. How does it hurt you?
Yeah.
You know, you're just going to say no.
And I think the only like real serious death threats I've gotten were from Muslims. I made a video where I dressed up as the Prophet Muhammad and made a joke about Islam, and just pointed out how Islam is certainly not a religion of peace, and they just freaked out about that. I like basically committed the cardinal sin in their religion, you know, which is showing some sort of graphic representation of the Prophet Muhammad. It's like you're not supposed to draw him or pretend to be him or anything. So yeah, I got a lot of death threats from that.
Yeah, and then it passed. It just kind of stopped.
Still to this day, I occasionally still get messages. Somebody re-uploaded the footage of that, so like occasionally somebody will come across it, and then I'll get like a message on Facebook saying I'll kill you and your entire family.
Yeah. I get threats too. What can you do? It's part of it, I guess. And half the time it's 13-year-olds who just think it's funny to do whatever.
You could probably take them on.
Yeah, I'll take some lessons from you.
Yeah.
Or I'll twerk and he'll just run away, just the sight of it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Tell me about your political leanings. Do you vote? Do you vote? And after that, we're going to talk about the vaccine. Actually, no. Let's talk about, just hold it. Quick question. Do you believe in the vaccine? Just we'll move on after. Yes or no?
Yeah, you should take the vaccine. If you don't take it, you're stupid.
All right, next. So about your political leanings, did you vote?
So I didn't vote. I didn't vote in the last election because it was just very obvious Trudeau was going to win by a landslide, so I didn't bother. I didn't bother voting in the last election either. I did vote for Mayor of Toronto. I voted for Rob Ford, the crack-smoking mayor.
Why?
I don't know. He just seemed like the best candidate, kind of liked his attitude. So, yeah, I voted for him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I didn't know he smoked crack before I voted for him, so.
Okay. Anyway, what do you think about drugs? Do you do any drugs, or do you drink alcohol or smoke weed at all?
Yeah,
By the way, for those of you joining us, we are in Canada, in case you don't know, and we're allowed to smoke pot here, so it's not an illegal thing. I'm asking.
Yeah. I used to smoke weed, and I did that to help with my anger issues. I haven't smoked any weed in like 3-4 years now. It's been quite a while. I have done my fair share of mushrooms, and I'll probably do them again soon. They seem to help for my depression, and there's actually some human research showing they're extremely effective drugs for dealing with depression, psilocybin mushrooms. Aside from that, I don't drink.
Well, at least they're vegan.
Yeah, they are vegan.
And so what is that? Like, okay, so I don't know. Did I ever tell you? Probably not, because we don't really know each other. But when I went to a party at John Abbott College when I was 16, somebody gave me some mushrooms. They gave them to me in this plastic thing. It was like at the dorms and everything. And I was like, my God, mushroom. I was terrified. I would never take them. So I put them in my diary. And I closed the diary, and I still have them. And I'm 56, so I have like 40-year-old mushrooms in my diary right now. I don't know if they're like
weird.
Dead or if they're like super powerful, but I thought it was funny the other day. I was like, oh my God, I still have these mushrooms. How can you take drugs like that? Like, it terrifies me. I hate losing control. You must hate that, no?
Yeah. No, they open up different ways of thinking for you. Mushrooms are weird. It's there's this thing called ego death. Basically, you lose sense of yourself, and then you get like this weird third-person objective look at your own life, and it's pretty handy and useful. So they can do a lot for you. And even when I've had bad mushroom trips where I just felt like absolute terror the entire time.
That's what's scary.
I still felt like it was a good experience overall. Like it's as if you're getting taught something each time.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You buy mushrooms from somebody. They give you mushrooms. How do you know that? Like, well, first of all, is it actually a mushroom and that's it? It's just a pure mushroom. There's no added pepper and salt like chemical on it. It's a mushroom.
Yeah, no. So they have a weird legal status in Canada. You can actually buy grow kits online, so you can just order a grow kit with the spores and everything and grow them just fine.
Oh, is it hard?
Apparently,
Are they hard to grow?
no, especially certain grow kits, they pretty much give you everything you need. You might need like a pot and just an area to store the mushrooms, but that's pretty much it. I think technically it is illegal to grow them. It's illegal to possess them if they're dried. If they're not dried, then it's fine. You can have them. And they're illegal to sell. But it's kind of strange. I haven't heard of anyone actually getting prosecuted for possession of mushrooms. That might be because they end up taking some sort of plea deal or something, but I don't think it's really something that's policed because you can buy them online. And in my experience, just with knowing a lot of friends who've even gotten stopped by the police for even having like some hard drugs like cocaine, it seems like around here, at least in Ontario, they don't really take these drug crimes all that seriously. But
how much do you take? It's like I'm 100 pounds. You're how much?
Yeah, I'm 250.
So we're not going to take the same amount of these.
Like you could.
First of all, I am not going to do it. I really just can't even see myself thinking that's fun at all.
No, you have to take drugs. I'm going to peer pressure you to take them.
And we're going to twerk and we're going to take drugs and now I'm going to magically turn into 16 again. Right.
Yeah.
No, but like, why? What do you think I need? Hey, I'm open. What do you mean? My ego's going to drop. And then as soon as the drugs wear off, I'll be back to being a bitch again. Right. So what else, like, or does it change you forever?
I think it does. I think I did change permanently in some good ways. I've had issues with empathizing with other people, and they made me more sociable. They made it easier for me to understand other people and talk to other people. I've had an easier time recognizing patterns in things.
These are really interesting. Wow. Pattern.
Yeah, so, and they've definitely helped with my creativity. So, yeah, they can do a lot of interesting things.
Give me okay, wait. So you're saying that when you're on them is when it helps with your creativity, or after? Okay,
no,
how long is it?
Yeah,
how long does it last? See, okay, first of all, seriously, I honestly don't know. I know what a mushroom looks like when I cook it, and I know what the one looks like in my diary. But is this like a tiny little? It looks like an actual mushroom, or is it all crumpled up and it's just like? Do you weigh it?
Yeah, you can weigh them.
So like how
that's
much?
How you kind of estimate the dose that you're going to take.
There's no fucking way I'm taking them. I'm sorry. I would be so terrified. I hate losing control, and I hate any kind of. I hate getting drunk. I hate drugs. I mean, I'll have like this much wine, and that's fine, you know, because I don't need it. I'm always the first one on the dance floor anyway. Like I don't give a shit. Like, you know, I can be creative. If you sell me the idea that somehow I'm gonna
cool. You have to take drugs to be cool and fit in, okay?
So I'm not cool enough. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta think about that because that's super important. You know, I have to be cool. Next thing you know, I'll be playing Minecraft and Fortnite and God. No. No, but seriously, okay, so you take a little bit, and how long does it last?
Trips can last for an extremely long time, like 8-10 hours.
That's way too long. Oh my God, I need it. Yeah. No, 15
like all
minutes.
Day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember the first time I took them, it was just, I was like, oh my God, I'm still high. Yeah, it can last for like 8 to 10 hours. No. I'd say like the peak of your trip will probably be, like you can estimate it to be around 5-6 hours, maybe a little shorter if you don't take too much, like 4 hours. But then you'll feel the come down, where you won't get as many visuals, you'll feel more and more normal, but that still lasts for a few hours afterwards. You won't feel totally yourself probably until like, 8-10 hours.
Wow, just sounds like so scary. So how much do you take? Like, what does it look like? The size of a Skittle?
No.
And you just like swallow it?
Yeah, so I usually take 5 grams of dried mushrooms. That looks like kind of like a handful, kind of a small handful. For my body weight, that seems to be fine for me. From what I've heard, that tends to be like a relatively high dose.
Wait, hold
But
on a
I'm like a
second, because
larger person.
you're saying a handful. Like, okay, here's a handful. Like, are they? But they're dried, right? So
Yeah, they're dried.
like okay, you'd have to weigh it, because it could be double or triple or whatever.
Yeah,
Kill
yeah,
yourself.
you'd have to weigh it.
Kids,
No, you
don't
can't.
take
You
drugs.
can't overdose.
Don't do
Yeah.
drugs and eat your vegetables.
Well, yeah, like check your local
Don't
laws. I'm
listen.
not encouraging anybody to actually
Yeah.
like do anything illegal or whatever. But
No, don't do anything illegal, and don't do, like, no, just, I don't know. To me, read a book instead. Go and run. Okay, do some weights instead. Okay, so what you're talking about, the weightlifting. Let's go back to that a little bit. So you're like, when you hit your goal, then what?
just get stronger, make a new goal, maybe try to bench 500.
God, I used to swim laps. I don't know if I told you this story, but I swam, and I swim a kilometer in an Olympic-sized pool, like 40 laps, and then I was like, okay, I got to do more, and I did more and more and more, up to 3 kilometers. And after a while, I realized this is nuts. I'm swimming for like an hour and a half. Like, why? Just go, 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 go. And then I hate doing anything that's not sustainable. It doesn't seem healthy to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could see in a way that you're curious and you want to push yourself and see how high you can lift. But then what? One day, Richard, you're going to stop and you're all just going to turn to flab, no?
No. Like, I'm always going to exercise or do something physically active. Like, it's always a good thing to exercise.
Yeah.
I usually, like most people, just can't exercise so much that it becomes detrimental to their health, at least from a physical standpoint. Pretty much every study you see on like weight training or long distance running or cycling, there's no upper limit found to where participants get a benefit from exercise. The only research I know of is with ultra marathon runners who literally run like hundreds of kilometers every week. And with those people, it seems like the inflammatory response from training is just maintained for so long, so consistently, then they develop issues. But normal people, if you're training like maybe 1-2 hours a day, like you're just not going to get a physical issue from it. It can be mentally stressful, sure. If you like obsess over certain things and you're getting frustrated from it. But usually when that happens to me, I just stop and do something else. I burnt out doing weight training for a little while, and I just switched to cycling, then kind of burnt out from doing that, so then I switched back to weight training.
Well, definitely I know exercise helps with depression. Just moving, shaking up the oxygen, moving the blood around, especially if you're outside and you have a different change of temperature and you see something different, or maybe you're listening to music and it gets you into sort of a groove of something. It just changes it. Thank you, by the way, to all of these. I don't know if do you call that a super chat? I don't know the terminology, but thank you. And thank you to Constantin. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. And thank you to this. Love you all so much. Hope you have a great day. It's so good. Thank you for loving us. Yeah, we're quite the pair. We're an unlikely couple. Let's see what else we have here. You want to read this one?
Science-based nutrition report, plant-based diets. Is
Right,
this?
okay.
So I'm pretty sure that's just the American Dietetics Association position paper.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm not trolling. Yeah, you be the comment reader.
I'm not trolling. I'm genuinely curious what has happened to her as an example of vegan phobia. So
for me,
to know,
yeah.
like, what happened to you, like what your experiences with vegan phobia are.
Well, I mean, just look. They kicked me off of TikTok. For doing what? It's vegan phobia. Piles and piles of 13-year-olds got together on Discord and decided that they were going to just bomb the site. So I would put up a video of anything, a little 15-second video of me feeding Bella, and they would report it as nudity. Or I was eating carrots, and they would report it as violent. So they just decided, these people who don't like my message about being vegan because they didn't like to feel guilty, and also some parents who just didn't like me giving the message to their kids. And so that's it. They took me down. Eventually, TikTok at some point gets enough complaints that they think, okay, something's not okay here, right? But I thought it was really wrong because they never actually gave me a real reason. And, there was that Tommy Innit situation where he's in college and I offered him some fruits and vegetables because he was saying he was looking for a girlfriend, or we wanted to show some girls his buttons. He said, those, you must have one. I don't
the
have
play
that.
button.
Yeah, like he's holding it, and I said, well, if you want her to press your buttons, you should show her your fruits and vegetables. Then you'll get a nice vegan girl. Why would you not want a nice vegan girl? She's going to make a great wife one day because she's loving and compassionate, and she cares about animals. She cares about sentience, and so and I was just saying, find a vegan girlfriend, and everyone's like, oh my God, you're sexualizing a minor. Like, I've been telling people for 11 months to eat their fruits and vegetables, and suddenly it was that. Like, give me a break. It was ridiculous. And it wasn't even him who complained. He didn't even know who I was. He's just some Minecraft guy, or I don't know what, something YouTuber.
People people shut their brains off whenever you do something.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. And then, and like I said, I was telling everybody to be vegan. So if I'd say that the LGBTQ community should be vegan, and it was a lot of times I put the hashtag that, and I put BLM, Black Lives Matter, and I just put, anybody. And, if somebody was depressed, I said, maybe you should be vegan. Get your mind off of your own, your own problems, and think about someone else, because it feels good when you're helping. Like, you can't get out of bed because you're depressed. Well, get out of bed, go to your computer and share the videos of some animal rights activists, or help in the comment section. And some people it did help, but others like, oh my God, she's picking on people. She's ableist. And I said all women should be vegan because it's, the female body, how it's manipulated. And I said all men should be vegan because, heck, if you don't like if you don't think that people should be touching people's genitals, and why do you let people do that to the cows and the bulls? I mean, they masturbate them, and they kill baby boy cows at birth, like, just because they're boys. They put baby chicks into blenders just because they're boys. Like, everyone should be vegan. That's just it. If you understand compassion, if you're Black, why the fuck aren't you vegan? Do you not remember or know what they did to your ancestors? That's what I would say. And then Black people weren't mad at me. It was the white people who were mad at me. Black people were like, oh, that's always.
What's funny is it's always the rich, privileged white girls who have some bullshit, feminist degree or something. It's always the people who can't relate to the marginalized communities that they tend to be standing up for. So it's funny how it's always them.
Yeah, well, I don't actually know for sure who it was. I couldn't see who it was, but my point was that I would tell everybody that they should strive to be vegan, and that there's no excuse for animal abuse. And they would say things like, well, I have an eating disorder. And I said, well, how is that an excuse? I mean, you have an eating disorder, just pretend that the dead animals aren't in the store and just buy everything else. There's 15,000 plants. You have an eating disorder? What if you have an eating disorder and you think that you need to eat cats and dogs? What's your doctor going to say then? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, what about people?
My patient has an eating disorder. Yeah, my patient has an eating disorder. He feels he needs to eat people. So we got to give him people because he has an eating disorder. Like, fuck it. No, just have your eating disorder. Get over your mental issue, because that's what it is. An eating disorder is mental. It's not a physical thing, and you'll be fine. People have had eating disorders and gotten over them. Not saying it's easy, but and if that fails, get a vegan doctor, a vegan dietitian. Like, there's ways around it. I'm telling you, if one of my kids had an eating disorder, or anybody in my family, my granddaughter or me, it wouldn't mean that suddenly I'm going to run out and start murdering animals or paying someone to do it. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, there's serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer who had some, weird obsession with eating dead corpses. So it's like, okay, well, he clearly suffers from some sort of mental issue. Should he just be allowed to do that because he has a mental problem? Like, if you're not going to apply the standard to people, why apply it to animals? And the person who said this, I know the person you're talking about, claimed to be vegan. Clearly she's not. If you're going to say it's okay to kill and eat animals because you have a personal problem, with food, you're not vegan. And especially these days when you can literally find a vegan version of everything. Yeah. You want bacon, vegan version. You want ice cream, vegan version. Burger, vegan version. Even steak, vegan version. Get over yourself.
Yeah. How do you feel about using terms like the Holocaust?
Yeah, it's an appropriate word. So first of all, the word Holocaust comes from a Greek word which literally translates to burnt animal sacrifice. So that word was appropriated to apply to human beings. A lot of people try to make the argument that Holocaust refers to, the Jewish Nazi death camps. The term Holocaust is being used to describe a number of mass killings. There's the Native American Holocaust, the Armenian Holocaust. There are a bunch of other mass genocides that are used that use the term Holocaust. So you can use it to describe any kind of unjustifiable mass killing. And since the word was used to describe killing animals to begin with, I think that makes it even more appropriate. There are also Jewish Holocaust survivors like Alex Hershoft who have openly stated, the animal agriculture is a Holocaust. So if there are any similarities between animal agriculture and the Jewish Holocaust, I'm sure somebody who actually lived through the Jewish Holocaust would be in a position to point out those similarities. So, animal agriculture is a Holocaust. Anybody who disagrees with me is an idiot.
There you have it. That's why we love Richard. Well, we got the first official, it's not a swear word though, is it?
I swore earlier. I said the F word earlier.
Oh, you did? I missed it. Okay, we have another comment here. Oh, it's Jasmine. Jasmine Gaines, that VG, what do you think about doing a weekly podcast with VG? I'm open to anything. I think it's great. I think we should, but it's a podcast. So what does that mean? Which there's no camera?
Basically, no, there'd be a camera. It's just that we'd discuss a bunch of topics on a weekly show.
Yeah, I'm open to anything at all. And I especially like the idea of me having to prepare a little bit and learn something in advance because I like to learn. So if we have something, you say, okay, today we're going to be discussing whoever. And that reminds me, I wanted to also talk to you about politics in terms of, what's going on in the United States. And I asked you about that off camera. I typed to you about people like the Canadian Jordan Peterson. You said I'm not going to use the adjective.
I can't stand him.
Yeah. Okay. I know you can't stand him. So we were talking about Jordan Peterson. I was talking to that vegan lawyer about these topics. I don't know if you saw that, but it was Jordan Peterson and it was Candace Owens.
Oh, I hate her too. I think I hate her worse than Jordan Peterson.
Okay, I'm gonna just make sure. Okay, so for anybody who's watching, Google these names, and you guys can tell us your opinions also later, or if you know, please ask a question. So Peterson, Owens, and then Ben Shapiro. Also, I think you can't stand all of these people. And who else was it? What about Sam Harris is another one. Do you know him?
Yeah, I agree more with Sam Harris's political beliefs, but his stance on veganism is, again, pretty idiotic.
So just for those of you who don't know, because there's all kinds of people here, these are people that are, I don't know, what would you call them? Commentators,
political commentators, political figures,
thinkers. They have opinions about stuff that are a little bit different. So Candace Owens came out. She kind of broke into, I think, the mainstream, or at least when I first started hearing about her. When George Floyd died, she's a dark-skinned woman. I think she's about 31 years old, and presently now she's married.
She has an absolutely brain-dead take on George Floyd.
Okay.
I'd even call it sort of racist. It sounds like she's appealing to right-wing racist idiots when she gave her idiotic take on Floyd.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that, because especially since you have darker skin than me, you should take that one away. So first of all, tell everybody what she said. It was like a 20-minute rant on Facebook, and why you agree with it.
So basically, the two main points that she made, maybe three. Basically, the premise of her argument was we shouldn't really care about what happened to Floyd. Reason one was essentially that black people kill more black people than cops kill black people. So according to her, because based on death count, violence within the black community is a bigger problem than violence against the black community perpetrated by the police. We shouldn't really be having protests about George Floyd. We should be having protests about black on black crime. That's just idiotic. Comparing citizens attacking each other versus citizens being attacked by a government institution and being systematically mistreated and oppressed. Two completely different issues. So, like, the issue with George Floyd is more of a systemic one where a government institution that has more power over people is perpetrating violence. That's the issue with Floyd. It's not about total death count or like what causes the most harm. So idiotic point to make. Her other point was that George Floyd was a criminal, so who cares if he dies? Like, Jesus Christ, who cares? The guy was clearly murdered in the street for no goddamn reason. The police didn't really know about him, his criminal record, his history, what he was going through, and they just killed him because they just didn't care, really, whether he lived or died. Clear, like, the guy was completely unresponsive on the ground, and the cop still had his knee right on the guy's neck, and people in the crowd were shouting, like, he's unresponsive, he's dead. I think there was even at one point a guy in the crowd who was a trained police officer, and he was yelling, look, I went through the police academy. This guy can't breathe. He's unresponsive. I think that was a really good thing for the prosecution to have.
You know what I did for that, Richard? I listened to I watched the footage of that from different angles a long time, and I typed down the exact words that I heard, everything that I could hear. And they are used in my song called I Can't Breathe. I don't know if you saw it, but like tons of people called me racist because what I was doing is I was including the animals in this and saying that, look, these are all sentient. Everybody's sentient. This little mouse can't breathe because you're like snapping his neck behind your fridge, you know. And the Regan Russell, who was run over by a truck, she couldn't breathe, and he can't breathe. And this is all terrible. All of these poor animals and humans. And because I said all lives matter, I was told that I was racist because I should not say all lives matter, even though those three words, all lives matter, is what I actually feel. But apparently I was hijacking some hashtag and that this was wrong, and I didn't agree with that.
Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. So, like, my problem with Candace Owens is, even though she's black, I think you can be racist to your own race. That's totally, like, that's happened plenty of times before. And, I mean, she's literally parodying like literal KKK neo-Nazi talking points where, like, I've seen forum posts, oh, these monkeys are killing each other more than we're killing them, so who cares? Like, this is literally what she's parodying. And it's like, what are you thinking? Like, she has a complete inability to use any critical thinking skills. And I think since it's become like a business too, to like just be far right wing, I think that's one of the reasons motivating her to say some of this stupid crap. She's also a huge anti-vaxxer. She's made just brain dead posts on Twitter talking about, she's talking about how girls shouldn't get the HPV vaccine because it causes cancer or something, which is complete nonsense. Like, she was saying it causes cancer, some severe reaction. Of course, there's no evidence of this, and actually one of the reasons why they give girls the HPV vaccine is to prevent cancer, because the papillomavirus pretty significantly increases your risk of cancer. She also claimed HPV isn't transmissible. I don't know how she believes that. I don't know how she thinks you get the disease in the first place if it can't be transmitted. So she's beyond stupid. Just one of the biggest idiots I have ever come across in my entire life. And she's also bought fur. She's also bought like a fur hat, and then vegans have called her out for it. And then she gave like stupid arguments like, "Oh, it's natural" or something. You know.
Yeah. These are plenty of reasons. Let's move on to somebody else. What about Jordan Peterson, who is a professor at the University of Toronto, or he was. Then he wrote 2 books now, The 12 Rules for Life, and the second one, 12 More Rules, or something like that.
Yeah, so not everything Jordan Peterson says is complete garbage. Some of his self-help advice, particularly self-help advice directed towards men, is pretty decent. I agree. However, he is the definition of pseudo-intellectual. If you read some of the passages in his book, 12 Rules for Life, they make absolutely no sense, particularly some of the weird charts that he draws. He deliberately tries to make things
Did you buy his
as
book?
complicated. No, I just got a PDF copy and looked through
Okay.
some of it.
Yeah.
So he literally just makes things as complicated and confusing and nonsensical as possible to make it look as if he's like intelligent and has this great insight when he really doesn't. He just
Okay.
deliberately tries to confuse idiots. He is transphobic and homophobic. He lied about what was it, Bill C-13 or something. Basically, it was just giving trans people similar rights and protections under the law as like
As
other
anyone else?
marginalized groups like gay people. And then he lied about it. He was talking about how it was compelled speech and stuff when it completely wasn't. He's also made
Do you want to just
video posts.
do you want to just clarify, because not everybody knows what we're talking about with that bill? So what do you understand that bill, which did go through, what did it mean, and how do you think that he was twisting it? It was
Yeah,
to do
so-
with pronouns and gender identification.
No, not exactly. So all it did was give trans people the same rights against discrimination. So you know how like there's laws against discrimination against blacks, against religious groups, against gay people. It's basically just giving trans people that same right. I believe one of the provisions under that law is misgendering someone. So it is a form of harassment. Like if somebody were to constantly refer to you as a man, like I'm sure plenty of people have been bullied where they call you like, you know, your opposite gender. So yeah, that is a form of harassment. And like Jordan Peterson just took that completely out of context, acting as if it's compelled speech when it totally isn't. So all it does is protect you from harassment. It prevents like businesses from like refusing to hire you or not treating you properly. That's all it did. And then Jordan Peterson was acting as if like this is the first step to like Nazi Germany. It's compelled speech, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And that's how he built his whole platform. That's how he ended up getting $60,000 a month on Patreon from other like transphobic, backwards, homophobic idiots giving him money. Let's see. He's made
back down from that. It's something. Can I just say something? I don't know if you heard, but when I was listening to a podcast while walking my dog Bella today, I'm trying to remember what I heard. But it was something in the States. Caitlyn Jenner, who is somebody who had sex change, used to be a man and is now a woman.
Yeah.
And is she running for some sort of office now?
I have no idea.
Anyway, she's running. If anybody can Googles it and lets me know, some sort of office. And I heard one of the commentators, because I do listen to right-wing news because I'm interested in both, and I'm interested in how do they think, what makes them tick, and what are the differences. I'll take a story and I'll listen to both sides of it. It's fascinating how they just spin it to their own way. You know, CNN versus Fox. And this commentator, what's his name? Michael something. Not Michael Moore, but something. Anyway, he said Caitlyn Jenner. So apparently he's running for office or something like that, and used the term he deliberately. Like I was like, wow, no, that's just mean on purpose. Like that's just wrong. Like why would you do that? How does it hurt you to use somebody's pronoun? They're just asking you for a little favor. Like don't be a jerk. I don't know. I just thought that was really.
Well, I mean, especially when they actually go through the trouble to transition, take hormones, get plastic surgery and stuff. I can understand.
The
like,
Office
there's
of
some
Governor
people.
of California. Thank you, Daniel. Just wrote here. I'm sorry, I missed the other comment before. I know there was something, and I kept wanting to look at. Does anybody remember what it said on the screen just before?
I didn't notice it.
Anyway, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta learn how to juggle this a bit better. Okay, so yeah. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say about Jordan Peterson? So you.
Oh yeah, like he's made homophobic statements. Like people from his audience have asked him genuine questions about whether or not gay people can be good parents, like if they adopt a kid. He gave really dishonest answers, claiming like suggesting that gay people can't have good relationships or something, so they're unfit to raise kids.
That's terrible.
He also doesn't know what the hell he's talking about when it comes to Marxism and postmodernism, even though he talks about it all the time. He's claim, like, if you, I don't want to get into like Marxism and postmodernism, but basically Jordan Peterson accuses people of being Marxist postmodernists, which is impossible. You can't be a postmodernist and a Marxist at the same time. They're two completely different philosophies. So he doesn't even understand some of the philosophical and political issues he talks about. He's also like a weird Christian, and his beliefs are very vague and nebulous. He constantly uses weasel words too. He's pretty sexist. Like you can get the feeling from what he's saying. The dude is just really weird. There was that mass killing in Toronto where the guy ran over 10 people with a rental van. And it turned out this guy was an incel, and he did it because he was mad he couldn't get laid. Then Jordan Peterson made a statement saying, "This is why we need enforced monogamy." What the hell do you mean by that? So it sounds like he's talking about women should kind of be forced to date men who can't get laid or something. Like, that's what it sounds like.
Oh, God.
Like how else could you interpret that? So then when people interpret it as it sounds, then he'll just like say, "That's not what I said," and then he'll like walk back his statements but just bullshit. He constantly makes these very strange, vague claims where it sounds like he's trying to insinuate something, but he's too afraid to actually say what he really feels. So yeah, I don't like Peterson for a lot of reasons. I'd say some of his self-help advice is good, but overall I just don't like the guy.
You want to read this one?
Yeah, get active for animals, join Direct Action Everywhere, DXC, and the Animal Save Movement, veganactivism.org. I've had issues with the Save Movement. They're a little weird. I would recommend men stay away from that organization. There have been a few friends of mine who have been wrongfully fired from the Save Movement, and they seem to attack men and don't give a crap about what they have to say. They're pretty sexist towards men. There was a case where a guy was falsely accused of rape. He even had literal text message and like audio proof confirming like this was completely consensual. And then they still released a public statement saying, "No, you raped her. We're firing you." Totally slandering him.
I'm going to be
I'm
probably going to be interviewing him next week. Actually, talking to him.
Yeah. So I'd say stay away from the Save Movement if you're a man. As far as Direct Action Everywhere, they seem to be better. I know there's been sexual assault allegations made against like Wayne Husung or Wayne Sung. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah, Shung.
Yeah. So he's gotten like a lawyer and defended himself and everything. Now, when sexual assault allegations are made against DXC, I think they're more quiet about it, and they don't really make any. They try to quiet everything down and not make it public and just go through the police. But they also don't defend anyone, which can be an issue because some of these people are extremely loud on social media, and even when there's proof absolving the people they're accusing, DXC won't stand up and make like a public statement and like help defend these people. So that's an issue as well, but I think DXC would be better to get involved with anyway.
You want to read this one?
Yeah, honestly, asking people to be vegan is nowhere near wrong, but I'm Gen Z. Gen Z is a very troubled generation. I don't know what Gen Z is. What is Gen Z?
What do you mean?
Take a look at that.
Wrong, but I'm Gen Z. So was this person saying that
Members of Gen Z are born between 1997 and 2015. Okay. I don't know too much about kids these days, honestly. I was born in 91. I don't know, things have changed, man. Like, kids are playing Fortnite now, and there's something wrong with them. I'd say that's for sure.
What is Fortnite, and why do you think it's wrong?
Oh, it's just a garbage video game. It's a game you play when you have absolutely no taste or self-respect. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with, telling people to go vegan. I do think I am noticing there is like a a greater anti-intellectualism culture growing, and that is a bit of an issue. So I think that's what he's kind of talking about.
Okay. Interesting. What else do we have here? I'm just randomly putting them up. I don't know if they're... Can you talk about PETA, please? I would like to know your view on it. And of course, go vegan for the animals. Yeah. Why don't you start on that? What is your view on PETA?
So, I don't like a lot of what they do. I think a lot of the decisions they make are stupid, and even when they manage to make good decisions, when they get public backlash, they waffle. They make just a lot of very strange choices.
Example?
They'll go after like gaming communities. I think they went after Warhammer 40K because it's just a game. It's literally like a board game. And there's artistic depictions of characters wearing fur, and then PETA will make press releases about how it's wrong to depict fur even artistically, like to draw it, and then they'll get backlash from all of these different communities where these people will hate them. I don't see how telling people that they can't express themselves through art is at all a good thing. And then when they do something sensible where they actually point out that animal agriculture is a holocaust, which is a strong message that they should put their foot down, even when they get backlash, then they waffle. And then they like remove all the advertising and stuff that they do for that. I remember I was doing one activism like protest thing where it was for alligator skin handbags. It was a PETA promoted protest, and that happened right after they got backlash for the whole Holocaust thing. They had this policy right after where they don't show any slaughterhouse footage or anything after they made that Holocaust statement. So it's like, what? You end up waffling on things that matter, but then you're totally fine with like angering and pissing off everyone else when it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, so I don't like a lot of the decisions they made in regards to that. There's also like a weird, I don't know if they still do this, there was a weird crazy cult within their organization where they went around and killed household pets. If they found like cats or dogs walking around in the street, they just go around in a van and euthanize them, and they ended up getting sued because they killed this family's chihuahua, and they were accused of actually stealing it from their front yard, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. So they've done a lot of really weird, messed up, questionable things as well.
Well, I would be surprised. I don't think that's right. I know that what I heard is that tons of people dump animals on them. And they and they're really
I'm not talking
sick
about
and
that.
really,
I'm not
really
talking about their
hurt
shelters.
and injured. Yeah, really sick and really injured, and people are upset that they euthanize them. And to me, it's just like, I get it. I don't know. I don't know actually exactly how many animals get dumped on them, but I can imagine if it was my home and everyone's like, "Oh, it's that vegan teacher's house. Let's bring her all the injured animals. She can take care of them." Like, at some point, you're like, what do you do, right? I don't know.
I'm not talking about their shelters. Their shelters, they do get like the worst injured animals that are really hard to adopt out. But they were actually going around and euthanizing just pets. So
that's weird.
I'd say they're like a necessary evil. I don't even like. It's weird. I have mixed feelings about PETA.
You want to read this one?
Yeah. I'm also from Quebec province in Canada. Are you also planning to spread the vegan message to French speakers? That would help with more people knowing about veganism. So that's for you.
Yeah. Well, I suggest that you do that, because even the amount of time that I have right now in my day, I don't even get a chance to do what I need to do. Like, I have a pile of dirty dishes right now, and Bella needs another walk. She's had 2 walks, but they weren't as long as they need to be. Like, I simply don't have the time. And I also know a tiny little bit of German, and I thought, well, maybe I should go and branch out there. And I have written a little song in French, a couple of songs. One is called Ma Voix pour eux. You can go and check that out. It's on my YouTube channel. And I also wrote a couple of little ones. yeah, just little tunes. And so I'm going to put those on Spotify. So if you want to film something, you can use my tunes on TikTok, for example. And that's about the extent that I have in terms of time. But I welcome anybody else to join. And for sure, if you live here, what are you doing, Squid 3? What are you doing for the animals? And can you, do something like this? Get on social media and do it. Do great. I'd love to meet you one day. Let's see, anything else here?
What do you think about the videos that talk about you, that vegan teacher? Are you upset about that? I think that's more directed to you.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm absolutely thrilled when people call me a racist, homophobic. I just love it when they tell lies about me breaking laws. And, my favorite thing is when they, share that video where I was like, spreading feces all over the walls. And, I also love that one where they, have this image of somebody who's eating burgers and saying that I eat at McDonald's. I'm not actually an animal rights activist. Yeah, those things just make me so happy.
Yeah, the amount of idiotic, brain-dead videos about you is just sickening, and I wish I could wipe them out with a plague.
It's terrible because anybody who has seen, who just Googles that vegan teacher, there is so much hate and so many lies. Like, I could spend the rest of my life just trying to defend myself, but I'm here to talk about the animals. So, I could stay in bed and just move. I thought of that. At one point I was like, you know what? I can just move out of this country. I just move to a little house in the forest somewhere and just forget it. Like, you never hear about Gary Yourofsky anymore. I can totally get why he just dropped off the face of the earth. But the reality is I need to still talk about the animals. So I'm back. I'm here. I'm all the time. I never really left. And, I'm going to keep doing it because I have to, because I paid for those animals to die for so many years. I ate them. I paid people to steal milk from baby cows. Baby boy cows were murdered because of me. Not that I ate veal, but I participated in the dairy industry. I ate eggs a lot, which meant that I paid people to kill baby boy chicks, because in the industry, that's what they do, because the baby boys will never be able to lay eggs. So I have a lot of guilt, and that's why I believe in guilt. I believe, in telling people and trying to get people to feel guilty, because it is the guilt that has put me here. It is the guilt that made me go up to 1.7 million followers, and I would still be there if I hadn't been attacked in a wrongful way. I think it was really wrong what happened. I think that somebody who is talking about saving animals and trying to protect them, I think that society really did a disservice. And also because there was a lack of parental guidance on TikTok. And I was trying to tell kids, a lot of times, hey, where's your mom and dad? They would do videos and they would write to me in comments, oh, I haven't seen my parents. I don't know. They don't even know I'm on here. And it's oh my God. So to get rid of a 56-year-old who's a nurse and a teacher, you don't think I belong there? I think that was a real mistake, just from a societal point of view, just a general mistake. Anyway, but I'm going to talk about the animals no matter where I am. So yeah.
Why people think that all vegans in America are left-wingers. I live in Israel, third most vegan country in the world, and this isn't the case here.
Interesting.
I don't know. I guess there's certain cultural differences. I do think there's a lot of overlap with left-wing thinking and veganism here. That might not be the case in Israel. I know Gary Yourofsky. He's talked about how people who've been persecuted before and know what it's like to be marginalized, it's a lot more easy to convince them to go vegan than people who haven't. I think that might be one of the reasons why in Israel there isn't this sort of left-wing, right-wing divide when it comes to veganism. Maybe there they don't see it as much of a left-wing, right-wing kind of political issue. It's just an ethical issue that everybody can agree on. So that might be part of it.
That makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. By the way, if you haven't yet subscribed to either of our channels, go and do so. Subscribe and press the little bell. So when we all be doing videos like this, you can participate in the comment section. Before I go on, I noticed actually there's a comment here that just says vegan phobia. Do you think the vegan phobia exists?
Yeah, so there's actual research providing empirical evidence that exists from both the source and target. I made several videos about this, and I think I linked to you the research. Vegans are hated more than I think gays, transsexuals, black people, immigrants. The only group that is actually hated more are drug addicts. And if you look at the experience of a lot of vegans, I think like over half talk about how they have coping mechanisms for facing discrimination. Very large percentage of vegans have actually gotten like kicked out of their house, being disowned by their family, friends. So yeah, vegan phobia is definitely real.
Yeah. So, you want to read this one?
Yeah, I used to hate on you ever since June, but when I actually gave you a chance and I listened, I learned the truth about the industries. Don't know who he's referring to there. Maybe probably you.
Yeah, it could be either of us, but most likely I think I'm hated more than you.
Maybe,
but
yeah. Well,
it could be either.
I get this a lot. So, like, a lot of people hate me at first, and then they watch some of my videos, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're right."
Yeah. Well, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for letting us know about this. And yeah, we get this. That's why it. When people are mean at first, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah. You're gonna have to be mean, and you'll come around or whatever. That's why I try not to ban people. I don't want to ban people completely, but if you're just going to there's mean, and then there's just a complete asshole idiot, like where you're going to just totally spam things, and I can't even find a decent comment. Like, that's a shame. That society allows people to behave this way is just terrible. Like, it's fine if you want to write some things in the comment sections that you don't agree with, but don't just write meat, and don't just say you're a bitch or whatever. Like, how does that help? It's just ridiculous. And if we ban those comments, we're not censoring you. We're just trying to, see what the heck's underneath all of that. So much shit. I think in my comment section that's my kitchen. You're coming into the party and you're just taking down your pants and just taking a dump on my kitchen floor. Like, don't do that. It's my comment section. Like, be polite, for heaven's sakes.
As someone who has grown up around the farming industry and particularly the livestock size, it's a shame that all farmers are treated like they are all evil when that isn't the case. Well, I think you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I think the people who are running Nazi death camps, regardless of the situation they were in, regardless of whether or not you'd call them evil, they're doing something wrong. So, I don't even see how that's relevant. And no, a lot of them do know what they're doing. I've talked to farmers before, and they're very weird about talking about like killing animals. A lot of them will refuse to give their animals names. A lot of them won't even use the word killing. They'll use words like putting them to sleep and stuff. They use different weird euphemisms and tactics to dehumanize the animals so that they don't feel guilty. So I think vast majority of them, pretty much all of them, I don't see how you could claim somebody's ignorant when they're literally putting like bolt guns to their heads, slicing their throats open. So no, I'd say in the vast majority of cases, these farmers are morally responsible for their actions. It's totally reasonable to call them evil, just like how we'd call the people running Nazi death camps evil, and even in situations where, I don't know, it's family business, they're kind of forced into it or something, they're still doing something wrong, and they should be criticized for doing something wrong, and they should feel guilty for it.
Yeah. All right, and this one?
I've got more hate as a vegan on the US internet than as an openly gay man in one of the most homophobic countries in the world for 17 years. Not surprising. Yeah, when it comes to, like, homophobia, like, you made a video about this and everybody just crapped their pants. Like, when it comes to discrimination against different marginalized groups, like, every person is going to have their own anecdote. Some people have been thrown out of the house because they're gay. Some people have been murdered because they're gay. Like, I don't know of any vegans who have been murdered because they were gay, but you can find plenty of anecdotal examples like this where people get discriminated against more because they're vegan than because they're gay. I think it's totally reasonable to compare vegan phobia to homophobia, and again, there's empirical research on this showing that vegans are actually discriminated against worse than some of these marginalized groups, at least in some ways.
Thanks for the donation, and to everybody else, in case I didn't say so, we really do appreciate that. Thank you. And speciesism. Yeah.
I'd agree. Should police dogs, search and rescue dogs, and drug search dogs be allowed, or should people in need of being rescued just be stuck under rubble and die? Yes. So, name the trait that's lacking in animals, that if lacking in trait-equalized human beings, would justify forcing trait-equalized human beings to perform actions they wouldn't otherwise do, putting them in harm's way. So I think we have technological advancements that are getting rid of the need for search and rescue dogs. And again, I'd just like to hear an ethical argument. Okay, so just because people are dying, does that mean it's okay to enslave animals, put them in harm's way? Would you be okay with doing that with people who are trait equalized, who maybe have a similar level of intelligence? I don't see that as ethical.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're talking about trait equalized, you mean mostly you're talking about really how intelligent they are. You're not talking about like
Intelligence, sentience. You can use any other differentiating factor that you find is important, but most people would rely on intelligence and sentience. I don't think most people would be in favor of taking mentally disabled people, forcing them to do a task that is dangerous that they wouldn't otherwise do, and putting them in harm's way. So if you wouldn't be in favor of making a mentally disabled person crawl under rubble where they could get hurt, or like sniff for bombs or something where they can get blown up, like if you wouldn't be in favor of that, then I don't see how you could be in favor of that for like dogs.
Yeah. Or a small child, a 4-year-old kid or something.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, like most people are against things like child soldiers, so why is it okay to force dogs into war zones, or be on the police force and like attack people who may have knives or guns who will shoot them? So that's a good comparison as well.
I think this one's for you.
I love you, Vegan Gains, for what you do for the animals, but you have totally misunderstood / misrepresented Candace Owens. No, please watch Larry Elder on Dave Rubin. Oh, really? I should watch another complete moron to better understand another moron. No thanks, dude.
Okay. Well, that was pretty clear. I personally am going to go and look at that video because I'm curious about what this person's saying. But yeah, everyone to their opinion. What do you think about Lovely Peaches abusing her dog and killing it? Who's Lovely Peaches?
Yeah, I haven't heard of that, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that. I have no idea. I hope D'Angelo, I can't remember how he pronounces his name.
I think it's D'Angelo Wallace gets crabs.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets them anyway, without us wishing for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to wish for crabs because crabs are just an insect who goes and lives in its private parts, little crabs. I wish...
Yeah, maybe herpes.
I personally... Oh, I see. Is that what they mean? Is that
Can't get rid of them anyway, so...
Yeah. I would prefer that these people just die choking on chicken bones. That's what I hope.
That'd be good.
I just want... if you're going to keep eating dead animals, that's what I hope happens. I just think it's so wrong. These people are so evil. D'Angelo Wallace has millions of followers and did videos making fun of me. He's a complete vegan phobe, and he just thinks it's a big joke that people hurt animals. I don't think he's had the courage to watch any of the documentaries. And by the way, if you're new here and you're just dropping in, please watch Dominion Movement, watch Earthlings, watch Cowspiracy and Seaspiracy. And if anybody can please write those in the comment section, you probably already have, but keep that going. If there's any visitors here, also make sure you subscribe to our channels, both That Vegan Gains and I, because we're going to be talking about these things in the future. It's really important that the world becomes vegan.
Oh, crap. Keep yawning. What are your thoughts on vegans?
It's been almost an hour and a half, so let's give a couple more and then we'll wrap it up.
I can keep going. I don't know. I just get into these yawning episodes. What are your thoughts on vegans?
Call Jasmine to get you a coffee.
Yeah, I can't drink coffee. I lose my mind on coffee. What do you think of vegans who don't do any sort of activist work? Yeah, not on mushrooms.
But on coffee.
I can. Coffee makes me hallucinate, and I can't sleep. It's really bad for me. I just can't do it. But mushrooms, the high goes away.
Okay.
But yeah, your thoughts on vegans who don't do any activist work. I don't think vegan activism is a moral obligation. I think
I
what you're
disagree.
morally obligated, yeah, I think what you're morally obligated to do is not cause harm. Doing anything positive to prevent harm is something that's optional. I would say, though, since most of us haven't been vegan our entire lives, and for quite a few years we've benefited off of killing and eating animals, I do think it's reasonable to assume you owe them something, and you should do at least some amount of effort to try to convince people to go vegan and do some sort of positive work to give
And
back.
I think we have to define what activism is too. I think a lot of people imagine themselves standing outside of Canada Goose for 3 hours in a January freezing cold, holding up a sign. I'm not talking about that. I don't think you necessarily have to do that. What I'm saying is that I think I personally think that everyone has a moral responsibility on social media, even if you're in some sort of disguise, to help out all these activists that are out there. It takes nothing for you to come into Vegan Gains comment section and post a bunch of positive things. Like a lot of people do that here. They're reminding people to watch Dominion Movement and Earthlings in these movies. It's mindless work. You can be in your bed literally typing positive things in people's comment section, and it helps so much because it helps us. It helps reinforce the message. Nothing to it. I mean, you can also go an extra step and get some vegan shirts when you're walking around. Wear some messages that remind people about the animals. You can put. There's a lot of ways to do passive work. Bumper stickers on your car, or signs in your car, whatever. I think that everybody has a moral duty because they're suffering right now, and it bugs me that you say that, Vegan Gains. You should agree with me on this. They've been abusing animals their whole lives, and they should be. Everybody, I think, has a responsibility to do a certain amount of volunteer work in this world, like a certain percentage. Like, I don't know, half an hour a day, 15 minutes a day, whatever. You figure out some sort of formula, but fucking do something. Everybody has to. So there.
Yeah, I would encourage people to do activism, of course, but we could go into like some of the weird issues that pop up if we're going to have some sort of standard where everybody has to do some sort of positive input.
Okay. We can talk about that on our podcast.
Yeah, sure, why not? Maybe
It's
next
not
week
fun
we'll...
it's not going to be any fun if we agree with stuff all the time. I'm going to find things that I don't like about you, and then we'll have a good podcast.
Sure.
Because this is too boring.
Vegan Gains, is it possible to enhance libido from plant-based whole foods? What supplements can I take to increase load volume? It is possible to get an improvement in libido if you go from a diet that kind of isn't great for you, that makes you feel kind of crappy, that makes you have low energy, and you're not getting great nutrition, and you go from like a much better high antioxidant diet that makes you feel better, more positive, more energetic. Yeah. What supplements can I take to increase load volume? If you want to increase ejaculate volume, probably the best supplement would be soy protein isolate. I don't know why I said whey protein. Soy protein isolate. Any soy product will increase ejaculate volume, but I think if you're looking for a supplement, probably soy protein isolate. So there you go, Vibs Cartel.
All right. Thank you for the donation, by the way. Thank you, Heather, also. Heather Graham, 99 cents. Thank you. Appreciate that. Do you have a question or anything, Heather? No. Okay, well, if you write something, we're going to look at it. Oh, of course, there's always this one. There's always this type. Yo, steaks on me tonight. Y'all got a medium rare. Of course, they mean vegan steaks, so that's great. I'm so happy that you're cooking vegan food. It's amazing.
Came in this live stream at the wrong time. This is gross.
You missed my twerking. Now that, we'll talk about gross there. I twerked. What are your favorite vegan foods?
As far as whole foods, probably cherries would be my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
I really like cherries. I'm looking forward to the summer where I can just get a ton of cherries and eat them.
Oh. Do you love spitting? Wait, what floor are you on? Do you spit them off a balcony?
No. I just spit them into the trash. They give me really bad gas and I fart like crazy, but I just have to eat them. They taste too good.
Cherries? Really?
Yeah, cherries make me fart like crazy. I don't know why.
Oh,
And if I drink cherry juice, it gives me diarrhea. I don't know why.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I haven't had cherries in a while. We used to get huge bags before COVID, like massive bags of these frozen ones, and I would have them all the time. You know how I love them? I warm them up in a pot, and I get peanut butter toast, and I put warm cherries on top, and I eat it with like a knife and fork. That I love. Yeah.
Yeah, I also really like watermelon. When watermelon's good, it's really, really goddamn good.
Yeah.
I could eat watermelon all day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So much good stuff. But I'd have to say, personally, my favorite is probably vegan pizza. Honestly, I just love pizza. And we go and get like a massive, large pizza vegan with the pepperoni, spicy pepperoni, vegan of course, and whatever the heck, everything on there, and we could just eat the whole thing, and like we're just so stuffed, but I just love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and our Jasmine and I's favorite restaurant is Tenon Vegetarian. It's a vegan restaurant. I think they switched their whole menu to vegan now.
Oh,
Before there was some stuff that was vegetarian, and that's the best sushi I've ever had. I really like vegan sushi.
yeah. I don't like sushi that much personally. You want to read this one?
Dairy's Scary is a video that made me cry and realize what the industry is like. Shame on people. Yeah, before I went vegan, I didn't understand what the dairy industry was like, and then when I saw that Gary Rofsky speech, I was like, holy shit, how did I not know of this? So yeah, it shocks a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Love
Eek finally got mentioned. Thanks, speaking teacher. Love your Birdvid. Huh.
Because I have these baby birds underneath my porch. I'm so happy you like that. Yeah, I should film them again. They're so cute. These little robins, and they're these three, and they just like have like two little feathers on them. This is big, and they can barely get their heads up. They're so cute. Are you a real teacher? That's it. I am a school teacher. Yes, I'm a nurse. I worked as a nurse for 25 years. Then I became a teacher, and I taught for 9 years in the French system. I taught English to French kids. So I went from class to class. I taught the whole school, like 360 kids. I would sing and I would dance. And I have a website actually called Miss Karen English Teacher. Go check that out. Yeah, it has that. Or Miss Karen, you can go to a YouTube channel, Miss Karen English Teacher. And you can see tons of videos. There's my students there, and there's me teaching. And over here, I'm Miss Kadie. So I have two different lives.
Earthling Ed just released an amazing video on how shady and deplorable the animal agriculture industry is and all of the unethical shiz they pull. I'll have to check that out. Watched Earthling Ed's vid on Seaspiracy. It was really good.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet. Oh, wants an update on the little birds. Yeah, they're so cute. Okay, I'll do that. Lemons are really good.
I don't like eating lemons on their own, but like mixed into a smoothie, they're good. I also like limes mixed into a smoothie.
I haven't mixed lemons in a smoothie. What else do you put in there with it? Doesn't taste sour?
No, I actually can't taste sour. Sour things just taste sweet to me. Yeah, after I had a really strong course of antibiotics, my taste buds changed, and I can't taste sour anymore. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay. Oh, we did that one already. Okay. All right. So listen, I think. Oh, here's something. Yes. Yeah, it's so weird. I can't even leave my house without people noticing me. It's terrible. I have to like wear a hat, and I got these glasses. These are now they're actually. Well, I was told I had to. The doctor said you should really get some, starting to get some cataract thing or something. I don't know. So they said get the glasses that go dark when you go outside. I was like, okay, so you won't squint so much. And then I realized, how cool is this? I never used to wear sunglasses, so I walk around and my husband says to me, "So I can't see your eyes." I'm like, oh, then I kind of have a disguise. But yeah, I have to wear a hat and sunglasses and walk around, and people come up to me and sometimes they walk by and they go, "Hey, vegan teacher!" I'm like, I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. I guess it means you don't like me. And other people are like, "Hi, vegan teacher, we really like you." So it's like, okay, hi, like, can we have our picture taken with you? And I'm like, not really. Like, I just prefer, I hate it. I hate being known, actually. What about you?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like occasionally when I go out, especially it's not as bad now, but when I was in Toronto, pretty much every time I went out in Toronto, people would recognize me. I'm cool taking photos with people and stuff.
Yeah, well, but now
I
it's COVID too, you know, it's not, it's,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's a bit different now. Like, you know, if I have to be in close proximity with people, I'd prefer to social distance and stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe it sounds mean, but I don't like this whole fame thing. Like, why do you want your picture taken with me? Like, what did I ever do? Like, I'm just a messenger for the animals. Like, go take your picture with a pig in a sanctuary somewhere. Like, I'm just a voice. Like, I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I'm just talking. I'm just a teacher. I don't know. It just feels weird. But I feel bad now when I do that. But anyway.
Animals are tasty, but it's cruel, so suck it up and eat your vegetables. Yeah, I'd agree.
Mm.
What is your favorite Warhammer 40k faction? I'm sure you cannot answer that question. I don't even think I can.
Yeah, I know
answer
exactly
that
what that
question.
means. Yeah.
I know a bit about Warhammer 40k. I know what it is. I know that there's. If you were to tell me what the factions were, like it would come to me like from memory, but I don't know, man.
Can we have some
I don't know. I'm
context
not
here?
into it.
What the fuck are you talking? Oh, I just swore. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Is that so?
It's
a
like a
video
game. So
Okay.
no, it's not a video game. It's like a board game kind of. That's essentially what it is. But then, it's there's a few video games. So
I don't like video games. I don't think they should exist. I think they should be banished from the planet. People waste time on video
are
games.
awesome.
You should. No, it's a total waste of time. People should be reading and studying history, and there's so much about nutrition to study, and you should be walking pets and helping. You know, there's what do you like about games?
No, video games are great.
Why?
Actually, the Metal Gear Solid series is what convinced me to become anti-natalist. So, you can get a lot of really interesting insight from video games.
What series? What?
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid.
Solid. I should send you a video about some of it. You might find it interesting. It might change your opinion on video games a bit. But no, games can be pretty insightful, and they can actually teach you some things. Like,
Really?
Yeah, yeah. My thoughts on anti-natalism were actually formed from Metal Gear.
Let's talk about that before we go. Okay, it's been an hour and 42 minutes. This will be the last topic. And thank you to Chastity Rose who just gave us something. Thank you so much. Okay, let's talk about antinatalism. Tell people what it is and why you have a strong opinion about it. Tell us how much you love children.
I dislike children. I actually have a fear of children. I'm being like dead serious too. It's usually infant children, but like even really young kids, like 1 or 2, they creep me out.
You know you were one once, right?
Yeah. I think that might be why I actually developed fear of children, because I had a really bad childhood. So that might be part of it.
Oh, shit.
So,
sorry.
So yeah, I have fear of children, so I don't like them. They're creepy. I just try to avoid them, especially like really young infant children.
Okay, wait. No, seriously. Let me. I mean, I'm sure you've talked about this a million times, but like, okay, like infants, like so newborn babies.
Yeah.
Okay, they're creepy, or you just worried that you're gonna hurt them? Because how are they any different?
They just
come
scare
on.
me. Like,
Richard,
you know,
how are they
you know
different
how
than a
some
cat?
people.
How are they different than your cat? I saw you holding your cat yesterday, last night, upside down, exactly
it's
like
not
a baby.
It's not a human baby. Anyway.
Okay, but what's the difference?
Babies creep me out like spiders creep people out. That's basically the sensation I get. Why? Like,
No,
I don't know.
go
It's
further.
just an irrational fear.
Okay, wait.
I just have
Have you ever had to change a diaper or something on a newborn? I could sort of see in a way. I could sort of
I'd
see.
never do that.
No, it's not about the diaper. I mean, like when you're seeing a newborn, they're so fragile. Their little legs are like this. Like I could see how you would be a little bit scared because you could break them so easily. They're so fragile. But
yeah, I'd prefer to just throw them down a garbage chute.
Why?
They creep me the hell out.
I
They're
know
like
you said that. No,
spiders or something.
not allowed spiders. Not allowed to say spiders, and you're not allowed to say creep me out. So try something else. Explain it to me so I can understand it. Like,
Well, that's the sensation I get. Like, you know how people just don't like the way spiders move and they're creepy and they get the sensation that they're like in
yeah,
danger.
but they're idiots. No, because you can go
I get the
past that.
same.
I know,
I get the
but that's
same
just a
feeling.
that's just a learned behavior. Like you get creeped out because you've been taught that or something, and you can go past that. Your fear of an elevator or whatever. You just you get used to it. So
I don't
do
want to
you
be
not?
near children. I really don't.
Okay,
I
you
don't see any situation where it would be useful to me to be around kids. So, yeah, I'd rather just avoid them.
Okay. Now, has anybody ever said to you, like, well, they must have said to you, that's just because you just don't know them. You've never had your own and all that stuff, right?
Well,
Look,
yeah,
you
I've
have,
never had kids, but
I would believe you if you didn't like animals. Okay. Let's say you were just somebody who never liked cats or dogs and just you weren't, or have no compassion for them. I could sort of see it, but there's no way I believe you. I just think you just haven't been around. There's no reason to. You're right. There's no reason to force yourself into that. But let's say for some reason some distant relative died and they left a kid in the will for you. Well, that would be such a great movie scene because you would fall in love with the kid. You just would. Because that's how you fall in love with kids, is just by changing the diapers and putting up with their shit. It's like your cat, right? Your cat's you always say, "Oh, my cat's a pain in the ass." Yeah, but that's why you kind of like your cat, right? Because your cat jumps on you and wants attention at the wrong time, and then you kind of get used to them, and you're like, okay, come over here.
Absolutely no paternal instincts whatsoever. So no, I think I just stay grossed out and not want to be around them.
Okay, when does it end? At what age? When does it?
I don't know,
At what age? Like, when does it get less gross?
So when they like don't creep me out at all, probably like at around 6, like that's around the age. I'd say like 6 to 8, somewhere around there.
Okay, so around grade 1.
Yeah.
And why?
I don't know.
Because they're physically bigger, or because they can communicate with you?
They look different. They're shaped differently. They can talk. They don't make the same weird, gross noises.
What do you mean gross noises? You just burp on your show all the time. You just burp.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to burping than babies.
Okay, babies burp.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the burping's not the part. It's just all the other gross noises.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like trying to ask like why do spiders creep you out? It's like the same thing. Just everything about them, just everything about infant children just creeps me out.
Yeah, I don't know. If somebody said the spiders creep them out, though, I would ask the same thing and say why. I could understand it. Like, okay, let's say it's spiders, right? I could see a spider in a way because is kind of unpredictable. Like, let's say a spider comes down and it lands on your head and it's just a bit lost. Poor little guy. Okay, let's call her Charlotte. Okay, Charlotte the spider. She's fine. She doesn't know that she's on your head. She's just like, okay, what is this grassy area? And then by accident, you're snoring. She could go in your mouth or something. I could see how that would creep you out because the spider doesn't really know what's going on and could accidentally get in your eye. A baby is not going to accidentally step on your head and get into your eye. Like, it's not the same type of creep out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they're different, but I mean they still just creep me out. I don't like the way they look, the way they move. Just looks unnatural and weird, and I don't know. I just feel like I'm in danger whenever I'm near kids.
In danger? Oh, so interesting.
Yeah.
In danger. Okay, well, here's an interesting thing. I don't know if you remember your childhood, but you say you didn't have a great childhood. Like, do you have any memories of when you were little and anything? And hey, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, eh? But I'm just curious if there was anything. Like, did a child hurt you? Like, were you in a sandbox when you were 3 years old and some kid did something really nasty to you, and that's why you don't like 3-year-olds? Do you know what I mean?
I remember, like, the oldest memory I had was when I was, I think it was when I was 8 months. Like, I wasn't even a year old at that point. And usually people can't remember that early, but I can remember, like, clearly what actually happened. And my uncle corroborated the story, too. So I know this happened for sure. I was in the stroller. I was, like, not even a year old. And I remember I just wanted to punch my mom as hard as I possibly fucking could. I just wanted to hit her. I don't know why. And I had this idea where when she like went into the stroller to like look at me and say, "Oh, cute baby," whatever, I just punch her as hard as I could. And then she leaned her head in, and then I punched her, and then she like went back and like, "Oh, he hit me." And then I was so frustrated that she just didn't fall on the floor just in a pile of blood. I was just mad that I couldn't actually hurt her. I was so frustrated that I was just weak. I don't know.
Wait,
weird...
what does that have to do with children? Okay, but that's not a childhood. So why are you not free? Why are
that
you
was
not
traumatizing to me. Yeah, that was like a traumatic incident. Sounds messed up. That was a traumatic incident for me. I wasn't able to hurt my mom.
Okay. First of all, I think your memory is. I'm just gonna say I think this is probably a bit twisted. You know, people remember all kinds of stuff that doesn't just make even any logical sense. Because you don't hate women, you're married for heaven's sakes. So it's not. That doesn't make sense logically. And what does it have to do with kids hurting you? You said you're creeped out by little kids. That's what I'm trying to understand.
I don't know. I've just had instances like that where I just hated being a child. I think that's kind of what formed some of these feelings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, do you mind if you wanna, can I read this?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. It's hard to stop. I mean, we just talk for ages.
We can go as long as you want.
All right. So can we bring up V Booty's latest video where she addresses abuse of ponies for entertainment, as we responded to our question vegans today last time, I promise. Yeah, don't worry. You could ask as many questions as you want. Yes. So I support Vegan Booty. Vegan Booty is a vegan animal rights activist in Australia. She is I think she's 27 years old. And she does street activism where she holds up signs. She goes into McDonald's and she tells people to watch the documentary, which is called Dominion Movement. So she sometimes does things that are, she goes topless, but you can't really tell that she's topless because she paints all these cow stains on her. Do you know what I mean? Like black and white things, because she's trying to raise awareness about the dairy industry. And she's intelligent, she's kind, and I interviewed her like I'm interviewing Vegan Gains. And she recently was just out with her boyfriend, I think it was, and they just came across, she wasn't planning to do activism, but she came across a bunch of ponies who these people had dressed up with a unicorn. They stuck something on their heads and they put flowers on them. And she thought that was humiliating. And she said that these ponies shouldn't be used. They shouldn't be abused used as entertainment. They shouldn't be there on the pavement in the hot sun. And this guy, Isaac Butterfield, who is an Australian comedian, who's really mean, he made a video about her, making fun of her, and people were body shaming her because her shorts were too short or some bullshit. So I'm not sure what do you want me to say about it, but I think that she is an animal rights activist. I think she's great. I don't see her doing anything wrong. And I think
Vegan Booty's cool.
Yeah, I think that people who make fun of animal rights activists, who are vegan phobic, are just despicable. They should be helping her and should be sharing her videos and saying, "Oh, never thought of it this way. Yeah, maybe people shouldn't be getting ponies where tons and tons of kids either ride them or try to pet them and poke them in the eyes." And, you know, people think, oh, they have a great, like this guy was saying, Isaac Butterfield, who's just he was saying, well, they have a great life. I mean, they get fed and they get petted all day. Like, life's great. What happens if this pony isn't feeling well that day? What if the pony has a stomach ache or a toothache or their leg hurts? Oh, too bad. You have to do your job anyway. Like, that's wrong. Animals are not slaves. They are not here on this planet for us. They are here with us, and we shouldn't be breeding them into existence in the first place. What do you think?
Yeah, totally agree. Isaac Butterfield's a complete slime ball too. I've made a few videos about him. The thing that I hate about Butterfield is that he has absolutely no morals and he's an opportunist. He'll talk about freedom of speech and being against cancel culture, and he's against snowflakes being offended, and then he'll act like a snowflake and pretend to be offended when it suits him,
Exactly.
and he'll
He
lie
says,
about people.
he does the stand-up comedy routine, and he says he's against cancel culture. But the second that my 1.7 million, I was on there, I had 1.7 million followers on TikTok. The second that account came down, you would think, even if he completely disagrees with what I'm talking about, even if he wants to eat meat from morning till night, he should have still at least said that was wrong. Her account should not have been taken down. That's not what he did. He's just like, great, she's gone, fantastic. Like, what a fucking asshole. Fuck there. I swore.
Yeah.
Because that's just, you're right. He's an opportunist. And these people are just horrible human beings. Because he has, I don't know how many followers he has. I don't know, what, million something. These people like Gordon Ramsay and people like that, all these idiots, is John Robert Bell over on TikTok as well. All these people who have millions of followers. If you don't like an animal rights activist or you don't want to be vegan, just shut the fuck up. Just go home and eat your steak in peace. But to actually come out and say, oh, that vegan teacher should be banned. She should, like, you have no idea how much harm you have just caused to animals. Because you've basically given the green light to so many people and said, hey, go ahead, pay for the murder. This fucking asshole, Ethan Trace, who is selling t-shirts that say Meat Club. Do you know how much murder he's responsible for? He thought it was hilarious that I went off TikTok. I can't wait. I mean, every night my prayers to the dear Lord are, please let these people choke on chicken bones and die in their sleep or whatever, because they are making it worse for these animals. It's just horrific. Shame on them.
Actually, the food that you're most likely to choke on and die on is meat, so hopefully we get lucky.
Yeah, for the sake of the animals. Yeah. Now, people are like, oh my God, I can see it now. It happens all the time. She sent a death threat to Gordon Ramsay. No, I didn't. I did not threaten to kill these people. What I said is that at night, I say my prayers and hope that they die. Not the same thing. I hope they die eating the animals that I am trying to protect. That's what I hope.
Isaac dug a clip of Vegan Gains from 5 years ago at the time and took it out of context. It has a problem with other people going through others' internet history, yeah. Butterfield's just an opportunist. He's a liar. He kind of reminds me of Brian Rose from London Real, where he'll talk about free speech and everything, and then he, bans people who criticize him. All these people are a joke. I think Butterfield isn't funny, I don't think you can really call him a comedian. He's really, really desperate for any reaction from a crowd. That's why he made fun of the Christchurch shooting. Only a couple months after it happened or something, he made some racist joke that, since 25 Muslims died, I guess there's going to be no more taxi drivers in that town. So he just tries to get any reaction he can from the crowd. His jokes aren't funny. He just attempts to get some sort of shock, and then that's how he gets publicity, and then he goes on a rant about, oh, I'm right-wing, and I'm, anti-cancel culture, but no, he's a snowflake who promotes cancel culture.
Mm.
And now she is death-threatening people. Oh my God, come down. You just hope they died.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not threatening anybody's life. I'm not going to go and swim across the ocean and try to harm anybody like Gordon Ramsay or Isaac Butterfield. I'm simply saying that I hope that they choke on the meat that they're eating, because those animals died and they didn't need to. Eat your veggies. Be vegan, everyone.
No religion mandates animal abuse. Take the religious scripture that justifies animal abuse and don't support it. I totally agree with that. I know there is ritualistic slaughter in certain religions, but it's just idiotic.
Yeah, it's cruel for no reason. Change your religion. If your religion is telling you to hurt animals or people, change your religion. That's it. People are like, I can't change my religion. I'm like, why not? Just change it. That's it.
Do you guys think there could ever be a full vegan world? If you guys think so, then how could you achieve this? Well, I think one big step is having lab-grown meat, which should come out very soon. I know one company has already been approved to sell it in Singapore. I believe there's 3 companies now who are actually right on the edge of releasing these products in actual markets. So I think that's one big step towards it. What's really going to create a vegan world is just legislation, preventing people from farming animals, killing them, hunting them, stuff like that. I think it would be difficult to, already we can't prevent all murders. So, the idea that nobody's ever going to kill an animal, that's impossible. There are people who murder other people. We can't stop all that. And I think there's always going to be somebody who's going to murder animals. But I think at least eventually we're going to have legislation in place to make that illegal. And I could see that happening in our lifetimes.
What do you think about a society where you've seen surely, where they have those bridges that cross highways that are especially for the animals filled with grass, this is how I see the world should be. Remember, when you drive through these parks, now these parks called Safari Park or whatever, you stay in your car and the animals are free, but they're not really free because of course they're in a cage. But ideal society is that the animals are all free and we're the ones in the cages. So we have to stay, if we don't want to be attacked by all these wild animals, whatever, we can build fences to keep ourselves in, but the animals should be allowed to go everywhere. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Every highway should have the ability, should be able to cross over them. All of our roads should be underground, or I don't know, some way that we basically allow we should not be, because people say, well, we have to kill the coyotes because the coyotes are going to hurt our children. No.
Good. Have the coyotes eat your children.
Yeah, make me vegan. I will force you. Tell me your address. Tell me your address. Come on. I got my notepad. I will make you vegan. I will come over there with my tofu and I will shove my tofu down your throat. I will make you vegan. Yeah. Can't do it. You got to do it yourself.
Please, no solicitations on the stream.
Oh, I guess somebody must be trying to sell something, or I don't know. All right.
Watch Dominion, Earthlings, Seaspiracy, try Challenge 22.
You know what I love about this commenter? This is so great, right? Look, you got the cow there. You got Watch Dominion. And this person is copy-pasting this consistently. It's great because there's always somebody new dropping in. There's always somebody who's like, what's that? And then, if you just keep the message there, you are an amazing animal rights activist. This small thing that you're doing, if people would just copy this comment, and that's all you do is just go into all the animal rights activists. There are thousands of them on TikTok. They are on, Instagram. All of us, you can put that in my comment section anytime you want to. It's great. It's so easy to be helpful. You've seen these?
I've seen Earthlings. I haven't actually watched Dominion and Seaspiracy yet. I still have to watch Seaspiracy.
Yeah, Dominion. You don't need to watch it because you're already vegan. Does it upset you to see the violence towards the animals? I mean, I can't take it. I cry. I can't.
Yeah, I'd rather avoid it. Occasionally when I make YouTube videos, with my video talking about how, you're committing animal abuse when you eat meat, I just chose to show footage. When I make videos like that, I have to see it. I'd rather not watch a documentary like Earthlings or Dominion again. It's just puts me in a really bad mood, and I'm already vegan. Yeah, what about overcrowding, when the animals breed too much and there are certain species that need humans to survive, like calico cats, which are about 95% female. Never heard of calico cats.
Calico cats, I think, are the ones that are spotted and they're black and brown and...
Oh, they're domesticated. Okay, so I'm against breeding animals, so that solves the issue. Sterilize them all. So I don't know what you mean by that.
What do you mean by animal overcrowding?
Yeah, I think he's talking about when animals like breed too much
Like
and
what? Like
then
deer?
they end up. Yeah,
Well, then that's why we don't kill the foxes and the coyotes or whatever. We don't kill their. We
I'm
let
in
them.
favor. I'm actually in favor of killing carnivorous animals, and maybe we can actually have a debate about this some other time. But ideally, we'd want to get rid of carnivorous animals so that prey species like deer aren't preyed upon.
Okay,
A lot
hold
of
on a
people are
second.
concerned.
Yeah, I heard you
Yeah.
say that. Just a second. So, because this is one of the reasons that I almost didn't go vegan. I was just like, we got lions on the planet, and lions are always going to eat deer, and the world's fucked up because whoever God is or nature just messed it up. Why do we have carnivorous animals? Okay, I thought the same thing. But what's going to happen then? What's going to happen when there's so many deer and they have no predators, and they have all of this? They start eating all of the tree. Like you think we should? So you're saying we should kill the wolves and all the deer? Sorry, all the wolves, all the lions, all the predators, and then
Yeah.
how do you see that working out after that?
Yeah, so I think in most ecosystems, predatory species don't actually do much, if anything, to control prey populations. I know there was a study in Yellowstone Park, and they found reintroduction of wolves did absolutely nothing to control populations of deer and elk. The only thing that actually reduced their populations was poaching, so human intervention. Even if we, for some reason, required human intervention to control the population of these species, we can use contraception. So there are contraceptive guns that are being made, like they're basically tranquilizer guns, but they're contraceptives, and they like chemically castrate or make these animals infertile, and that is just as effective, if not more effective, than hunting. So if that's absolutely necessary, I think we can do that just fine. I'm not even convinced in most
Okay, what
situations
about
we'd even need to do that.
when you see places like I don't know where it was, but when the mice and the rats just breed like crazy and there's no natural predator, then what?
Oh, mouse plagues, like in
Mm.
Australia.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it was
I
Australia.
think it's totally fine to poison them to control the population. They destroy um, our food, so it's just self-defense. Like, okay, we could either have people starve, possibly to death, or we could kill these mice to protect our crops. I think the ethical choice is it's obvious to me.
Poison to death is a terrible death, though. I think what happens is they give them Coumadin, which thins the blood, and they just bleed slowly to death, like from the inside. Like this is my understanding of it. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if there's more ethical poisons we could use or something, or if it's particularly bad, but I just see that as self-defense. We could either have people die or we could have mice die.
mhm.
I think it's fine to protect your property and your food to prevent, food shortages.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel right about killing animals or just killing the predators because they can't help it, and they're not going around killing like serial killers. They just kill what they need to eat. And
Okay,
yeah,
well, if there was a hypothetical group of human beings that had to kill other human beings to survive, would you be okay with them killing other human beings, like just as long as it's necessary? Like, okay, well, they're only killing other people when they need to. I don't see how that justifies it. Does it make sense to allow one animal to kill like countless other animals through the course of its lifetime just to sustain one life? The
it's
better
only
moral
because
outcome is to.
I just think it's really tricky when we start getting into that and taking
I don't
over
think it
and
is.
really. I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough. I mean, clearly you have put a lot of thought. You probably had some debates about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to give that some thought.
Yeah, it's weird.
I
It's
don't
funny.
know.
When I first heard of it, it was hard to.
Yeah.
I had to concede because I couldn't come up with an argument. But yeah, it feels funny at first, changing your perspective like that.
So it would be, in your view, so we would kill the lions. Oh, they're so
Yeah.
cute. Yeah, unless they're coming after me, then you're right. I wouldn't think they're so cute. We have lions and leopards, coyotes. So basically, if you were the king of the world, That's what you're saying, is that you're the king of the world and you say, okay, now we're going to kill all the predators. So all the cats die. Or no, because they can be vegan.
Well, yeah, like domesticated species can be made vegan. I'd still be in favor of, neutering, spaying them so they can't breed. But yeah, these domesticated animals can be put on a vegan diet. Wild animals can't. So I'd just restrict it to wild animals.
Mm. I saw a fox across the street today. I'm in suburbia, and it was, I don't know, I just thought it was so exciting. Just this little fox just kind of digging around and hopping around, and nobody was up yet. It was early, and
I thought I saw a fox the other day, but it was just a really large cat. It's a very big orange cat.
That's interesting. About 95% of our females. Is that true? Can you Google that? Since you already have don't you have your tab open there?
Yeah, I can look that up.
All right. When my guest starts yawning.
99.9% of calico cats are female due to the unique chromosomal makeup that determines the color variations in their coats. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not okay. So there's
Apparently
a type of breed.
Cats, apparently, orange cats are mostly boys. Do you hear about that too? The orange cats are mostly boys.
I didn't know that. Yeah, but apparently the calico cats, it's a fur pattern, but the breed that they use to make those cats, the fur pattern, it's almost entirely females that have that, just because of genes. But it's calico isn't the breed. It's just the fur pattern.
Yeah, I think it's pronounced calico. Is it? No, I don't know.
Okay, I have no idea.
Okay, what's this? What do you guys think of Genesis 9.3? It's a very good point to make on veganism, considering it is from the Bible.
Let's see, Genesis 9:3, everything that lives and moves about will be for you, just as I give you the green plants, I now give you everything. Yeah, the Bible also says it's okay to stone women to death if they've had premarital sex. Bible also says it's okay to keep slaves. Believe it even says it's okay to keep concubines, so sex slaves from conquered lands. Bible's also okay with you having multiple wives. Like, there's a lot of ridiculous crap in the Bible. I wouldn't give a crap what the Bible says about anything.
The Bible's just peer pressure from dead people.
Yeah.
Use your critical thinking skills. Be reasonable. I miss TikTok. Used to sing all the time.
Crap.
Gary Roski.
You
go ahead. Okay. Wrote an essay. You go.
This is awkward. Yurovsky wrote an essay on the use of violence and moving toward positive social change. Okay, interesting. I haven't read any of his essays, actually. I should probably read that one.
Yeah, tell me what it says.
Okay, crap, I typed in the URL wrong.
By the way, for anybody who's just joining right now, this site, adapt.org, is one that you should go to for Gary Yurovsky, who's an animal rights activist. And I'm going to have a look at this also. Animal rights, empathy, education, and violence. How many screens do you have, Richard?
I have 2.
Okay, that makes it handy. I need to get organized like that too. Yeah. So what does it say?
Oh, I'd have to look at it.
Okay. Is it really
long? I typed
long?
in the URL wrong. I can't copy paste it.
Oh, okay. Empathy, education, and violence. Temporary. Okay. Sorry, we don't know.
Linked it in the chat. Yeah, this is a long essay. I'd have to read it later.
What's this? I have a question. If someone's diagnosed themselves by saying they have dystopia, which they don't, is it bad? If someone self-diagnosed, What if they don't? I don't understand what you mean. Dystopia is the anguish of being vegan in a non-vegan world. Yeah, you can diagnose it yourself. I have it. I have self-diagnosed. It is being unhappy living in a non-vegan world. It is going outside and seeing signs all the time about animal abuse. It makes me sad. I suffer from it. And yet, I keep going because I know I need to be an animal rights activist. But for some people, it can be debilitating. Sometimes people watch so much suffering on Facebook and things like that, so much animal suffering, and they can't take it. And so there is an author whose name is Claire Mann. You can Google her, and she came up with the term dystopia, and it's like it's in the same family as utopia, which is a great society, and a dystopia, which is a terrible society, and dystopia is a word that she invented. The anguish of being vegan in a non-vegan world.
What have I done to be blessed with this crossover? I guess we need to make a podcast.
That's so cute. Oh, Stefania! I love Stefania. Do you know who she is?
Yeah, she comes on my streams.
Yeah, thank you, Stefania. You are so wonderful. I just actually sent her an Instagram about a song. I don't know if you got it yet, but about a song that I'm writing and finished actually pretty much about Gordon Ramsay. It's a rap. And I need some help to make a good video about it. If anybody's good with videotaping, making videos, it's about a 4-minute song, I think. And I want some good footage of animals suffering, and I want pictures of him chopping animals or whatever. I want it to be a video that he's going to end up seeing. So if anybody's good with video editing, please let me know. I will send you the song, and you can make a music video out of it. I want it to be as professional as possible, and I'm open to having 10 or 20 different versions of it. So that's what I'm working on. Hopefully, some people like the song. But anyway, the message is there. And anybody who wants to rap, you can take the song and rap it. Because, hey, I'm 56. I'm not exactly a rapper. I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, I've never been great at rapping.
You're good at it?
Yeah. No, I've never been.
Oh, you've never been? Oh, too bad. I was going to say, another talent. That would be so cool.
Do you want to read that one? Or?
Yeah, go ahead. You read it.
Miss Kadie, do you have a message for people who gave up on being vegan because they got bullied for being vegan?
Don't give up.
I would say if you think you have it bad, the animals you're supporting, or the animals that you're paying to have killed have it worse. So who's suffering more, you for getting bullied or the animals who are getting their throats slit open? I don't understand how you could use bullying as justification to support even worse bullying. That's just idiotic and cowardly.
Yeah. Now, there are ways, of course. If you are being bullied and you're, let's say, I don't know, you're 11 years old or whatever it is, you don't necessarily have to talk about animal rights all the time within your peer group. You can do a lot online, like I said. You can still do a lot for the animals that you don't have to do in person. When you're dealing with people in person, you're dealing with idiots, people whose parents tell them to eat meat, people whose parents are not educated. So you can't, you have almost no chance sometimes at being able to survive in a vegan phobic world if you have it in your classroom or you're bullied. I don't know how you're bullied. But if you're older and you're able to, hold your ground, I would practice that. I would, first of all, practice all of the arguments so you can argue your way out of it and say, have all the comebacks, because that takes a while. When you're first an animal rights activist, you first become vegan. At least this happened for me. People would ask me all kinds of questions. Well, this and that. And I was like, I don't really know. I'm just vegan for the animals. That's it. Then I had to do a lot of research and started to learn. So, but being able to argue, to express yourself is good. And, go and take some self-defense classes, take some karate and walk proudly and strong and, don't put up with any bullshit from people, and use the word vegan phobia. You're being vegan phobic. Say it all the time loudly, and spread the word around, and go to your principals and your teachers. And even though they're going to make fun of you because they themselves are vegan phobic, doesn't matter. You're going to keep the word out there and write essays about it. And ask Richard for the article that he has about vegan phobia, and put it in your essays and prove that it exists, and that the people that are the most hated in this world are vegans. How crazy is that? They've done nothing wrong. The only people that are less hated are drug addicts. Makes no sense.
Richard, are you really out here defending killing mice? If there's a circumstance where there are wild animals interfering with our food production, where the net outcome would be more negative to let these animals destroy our food, so people would starve, we'd lose food. Yeah, I'm totally fine with killing wild animals, poisoning them, using pesticides, things like that. I'm after the most positive outcome. If the most positive outcome results in some animals dying, that's just the way it has to be. Out of the choices we have, where we could either kill any animals, which is obviously terrible, it results in more suffering and death, produce plant foods, which we have to rely on things like pesticides in certain unique circumstances, like mouse plagues in Australia, poisons, or I don't know what other methods they do to get rid of mouse plagues. Then I'd say, the option where we cause the least amount of harm is the better option.
Do you know who this is? VegSeps?
Yeah, we both hate each other. He's a dishonest jackass.
No. Why do you hate each other? VegSeps is a 17-year-old from Texas. He's vegan and he's a bodybuilder. Why would you guys hate each other? Be friends.
Check out our debate. He's a dishonest jackass.
Aw. Wait, you have a debate? Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we had a debate.
Okay, where on your channel or his?
Yeah, on mine. I don't know if he uploaded the debate to his
channel.
channel.
How long ago?
I guess it was last year. It wasn't too long ago. I think it was during the summer.
Okay. What's your main argument? What's your main thing that you disagree on?
Well, we had a disagreement on the term white privilege. We were having a debate on that, and
what is your position?
So my position is racism obviously exists, but I think it is racist to assume that an individual has some sort of advantage over another individual just based purely on their physical appearance, like their skin color.
Wait, you're saying they don't have an advantage?
No, I do think that there is, again, I do think there is such thing as racism. I do think there is such thing as systemic racism. I just don't like the term white privilege, because you're basically accusing, individuals of a group. You're claiming these individuals have advantages based purely on their physical appearance. I don't think it's right to just make assumptions about individuals just because they belong to a particular group.
Would it be a mistake to invite VegSeps to come and talk right now? Would you like that or not?
Yeah, that'd be a mistake. The guy is cancer. He just talks over you constantly.
I won't let him. I have the mute button. I have the power.
I really don't want to deal with him right now. Maybe some other time.
Another time. Okay. Let's see. Thank you for your comment, VegSeps. What's the difference between being vegan, vegetarian, and plant-based diet?
So vegans are the good ones. Vegetarians are scum. They support animal abuse. I would recommend you watch Dairy is Scary. And Erin Janis, the person who made Dairy is Scary, she also has another video on the egg industry. So vegetarians...
She's also Canadian and lives not too far from you, I guess.
Yeah, she actually lives pretty close by.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetarians consume dairy and eggs. In the egg industry, male chicks are literally thrown into a blender while they're alive and fully conscious. It's pretty disgusting. The reason they do that is because male chicks do not produce eggs, so they're useless to the egg industry. Female hens are just abused their entire lives. They're put in like these tiny cramped cages, and then once they can't produce enough eggs anymore, they're killed. And in the dairy industry, female cows are raped, their children are taken away from them, which is extremely stressful for both the mother and baby cow. Baby cows are put into the veal industry where they're tied down, tortured, murdered, and female cows have to go through this over and over again until eventually they can't produce milk anymore. They're killed. So vegetarians are scumbags. As far as people who are plant-based, there's not really any solid term on that. Sometimes people refer to plant-based as people who eat a vegan diet, but they also buy like leather, fur, so they only care about the diet aspect. Some people define it as people who eat mostly plants, but occasionally they might eat meat or animal products. There's no real strict definition. So that's the difference between the three. Vegans don't eat any animal products, and they also don't buy any leather, fur, wool. We also don't go to zoos or support animal exploitation, abuse in any way.
All right. This is going to be the last one.
Okay, Squidward, right. Okay, I get that. If it would be easier, would you consider trying to live as vegan as possible?
Okay, I guess this is an inside conversation, so that doesn't count. Let's go to another one.
When you say that vegans are the most hated group, are you comparing yourself to the LGBTQ plus community? So, let me try to find the, let me try to find the study. I have it saved.
Compared to all
trying
groups.
To look for it in my bookmarks. Sorry?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to fill in while there's a silence. I'll say we're talking about compared to all groups. Vegans are the most hated compared to all groups, except for drug addicts. This is what a study showed.
Yeah, so the paper's titled, "It Ain't Easy Eating Greens, Evidence of Bias Towards Vegetarians and Vegans from Both Source and Target." I can link it to you on StreamYard, and then if you want to post that in the chat to share it, you can. What it found was
I don't know actually how to do that yet. I don't know what buttons to press. Share
I think you can just link it. I think you can just link it right in the chat. You don't even necessarily have to screen share. If anybody's interested, okay. There's the link in the chat.
Oh, I see. I thought you wanted me to put it on the screen. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so out of a number of marginalized groups, including homosexuals, blacks, immigrants, and drug addicts, only drug addicts were viewed worse than vegans. So, yeah, vegans aren't looked upon particularly well. That's what that study found. And if you look at reporting of discrimination from the target, which would be vegans, you can see similar levels of discrimination coping mechanisms. You can see similar instances of people being disowned by their friends and family after going vegan compared to like gays. So you should take a look at that study. It's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, we're going to have to leave it at that. I know somebody's asking about zoos, what's wrong with zoos, but I said that was going to be the last one. Do we go one extra?
Yeah, we can do one more.
Okay, what's wrong with zoos?
So zoos are exploitative. They're not there for the benefit of the animals. They're there to turn a profit. Typically, they're kept in confined spaces. They don't get enough stimulation. A lot of zoos provide inadequate care. They also have breeding programs, which again is exploitative. They don't really do much. Like, I think they rarely ever reintroduce these animals to the wild. Some zoos do with certain species, but for the most part, all the animals that are being kept in captivity, they're not going to be reintroduced to the wild. They're just there to turn a profit so people can come by and say, ooh, ah, take some photos, and they make money off of that. So the reason zoos are not vegan and you shouldn't support them is because they're exploitative, and a lot of them end up harming these animals.
And I wrote a song called Don't Visit the Zoo. You can check it out on my YouTube. Just scroll around or find it there. So I want to say thank you to Vegan Gains, who was my guest tonight. We were planning to talk for an hour, and we talked for 2.5 hours. We seem to have a lot to talk about. And I want to invite Veg Steps, if you want to come and talk to me again another time, you're welcome to. If I could ever get the two of you have a conversation, I would love that. I would mediate, make sure you got along, because we should be. That was a year ago. Come on, Richard. A year ago. Maybe he's
If
changed.
he can learn to behave himself
will.
and not be
He
a
will, I
jackass.
promise.
Sure.
Look, I know where the mute button is. If somebody's being a jackass, I will just flush them. And I don't think he will. He was very polite with me, and he stuck up for me just like you did. So to me, I see you guys both really being great. So I don't know what I'm missing here, but you know, you guys can get along. You're gonna have to kiss and make up because I said so.
All right.
All right. So we'll organize that. All right. So thank you, everybody, and don't forget to subscribe to both of our channels. If you need vegan dog food, I think we are both trying to help the same Montreal couple to sell food at vigor.com. Vigor, VGRR.com. It's in my description. It's in his description. All we care about is that the animals are not being murdered for our pets. So go and get vegan pet food there. Anything else you want to say before we leave?
No, that's about it.
All right. So we'll see you then soon. Bye for now, everyone. Take care.